Okay, looks like we should be live now. Looks like my mic may be a little bit far away from me. It's always tough to tell. Never that good of a judge of it. Also, of course, I'm on a weird screen for 999 where there is no music, so I'm not sure if my headphones are set to the right volume. Should be fine. Oh, also, doesn't matter, I can't see that part of the dashboard anyway. And this is the continuation of the Coffin ending. The Coffin was trying to open. It said the line, "The world blinked." I accidentally clicked while getting back to this window, and suddenly there was a voice inside of Junpei's head. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Ah, now truth is asleep in the darkness of the sinister hand. What the hell was that voice? Junpei was utterly and completely baffled. Huh? What are you talking about? What's up? Seven and Clover ran over him, but Junpei didn't know what to tell him. He told him he'd heard a voice, they'd laugh or worse think he was going insane. All he said was, "Oh, nothing." Cleared his throat a little too loud and looked pointedly down at his bracelet. There were a pair of small buttons protruding from either side of it. Junpei pressed the buttons on the bracelet. I don't actually remember what this order is. I think it... it'll correct me if I do it wrong, I'm certain. But I think that's what it... Nope. That's wrong. You should know that already. Yeah, shut up. Was it just right, left, right, left, right, left? That seems way too obvious a thing. But why is it the most obvious one? That was it. And we get a code to enter the Junpei checked one last time. 1 4 3 8 3 4 2 1. Huh? Eh? Hey, what the hell were those numbers? Oh my gosh, are those... Junpei didn't answer. He simply walked straight to the coffin. He knelt down in front of the keypad, running over the numbers in his head so that he wouldn't forget. 14383421. With trembling fingers, he punched them in. That was all of them. He punched the E button. There was a moment of complete silence. Then there was the sound of the coffin lid unlatching. Someone sat up out of it. Oh, is that you, Clover? I apologize for worrying you. Snake. Oh my, how did you... Junpei? And Seven? Is that you? Is everyone else there as well? Just like Rip Van Winkle. You know, it strikes me that I don't get that reference. I sure didn't get the reference at the time, but I still don't get the reference. I don't know... whatever. Still, it's very much like Snake. Simply cut to the heart of the matter and ask. Junpei and Seven shared a wry smile. Clover's eyes were filled with tears. You're back. With a cry of joy, she leapt into Snake's arms. Gently now. My body's still a little weak. You're back, you're back. Clover looked like nothing so much as a lost child who'd finally found her home. She cried and cried and cried. Her eyes were red and her nose was running. She hiccuped and gasped as if she were about to begin hyperventilating. You're back. You're really here. Her voice was happy but almost desperate, as if she feared he would disappear again if she stopped talking to him. Tear after tremendous tear rolled its way down her face. Her small arm strained as she clutched Snake's body as tightly as she could. Perhaps she had to convince herself he was real. Perhaps she was worried he would be gone the moment she let go. Perhaps she simply didn't know what else to do. Perhaps the writer should have, just finished this fucking thing already. Oh, you're back. Come now, what's got into you? You're acting as though I've returned from the grave. Not as though. You did. I really thought you were dead. Hmm? You jerk. Idiot, idiot, idiot. Clover broke into sobs so great she could no longer talk. It was a touching reunion between brother and sister. Even though Junpei knew they had little time and every minute they waited was a minute they wasted, it felt cruel to pull them apart. Junpei and Seven sat down on one of the pews, waiting for Clover to calm down before explaining to Snake what had transpired. Also, I'd like to note we've not actually seen if Snake still has his bracelet. I see. I believe I understand things rather well now. Thank you. I'm not sure what Zonky Zero is. Ah. I had not heard of that one. I'll see about it. Oh, it's on Steam. I should probably not have that playing in the background. Yeah, I'm kind of intending on going through the entirety of this series, but I'll probably pick that up at some point in time. Okay, so in the shower room, there's a dead body wearing my clothes. Because that, you thought that I was dead. Correct. He'd quickly and neatly summarized the events of several hours. Junpei nodded. He also discovered a corpse in the captain quarters, and Santa turned on you here, in this room. Do I have it straight? Seven had been rather surprised to learn of the dead body in the captain's quarters. With everything that had taken place, Junpei had simply forgotten to mention it to him. Well then, I've got a pretty decent idea of what happened while I was indisposed, but it's still something of a mystery who did all this, and why. The corpse in the shower room that looked like me, and the corpse in the captain's quarters. Why were they killed in the way they were? You don't know? No. Why would I? The guy in the shower room. We don't know who he is, so let's just call him Mr. X. Anyway, this Mr. X is wearing Snake's clothes, but you were wearing some kind of robes. That means someone took your clothes and put them on Mr. X. We need to figure out who that was. I apologize, but I have no idea who might have done this to me. I only just now woke up. I was unconscious during all the events you just described to me. You must have undressed me and changed my clothes during that time. When were you knocked out? When we split up to look for the red. Where did they get you? Do you remember? It was a small room in one of the hallways on C deck. What happened? Same thing that happened to every one of us when we were abducted. A can releasing some sort of gas was thrown into the room. I believe the gas is some sort of incapacitating agent. And that means it was 0. Looks that way, huh? There's nothing else I have to tell you. When I woke up, I was in this coffin. Junpei crossed his arms and thought, why had 0 made Mr. X wear Snake's clothes? How had the result of that trick benefited 0? It was a mystery. Junpei couldn't make sense of it. He also didn't have a satisfactory explanation for how he discerned the key code for the coffin. It just didn't make sense. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Oh yeah, that's actually the whole... What did that mean? Did it mean anything? And why had Junpei felt compelled to push the buttons on the bracelet after hearing them? Seven had asked him about it while they were waiting for Clover to finish crying. He'd had no answer for him then, and he still didn't. All he could say was that it seemed to have been a subconscious reaction. His fingers had simply moved of their own accord. It was the only explanation that made any sort of sense, and it made almost no sense. Junpei had no idea what any of it meant. His mind was a maelstrom of mysteries, clues, theories, and more mysteries. He could barely think. And of course, Snake and Clover had been subjects in a similar experiment 9 years ago. The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. And someone did actually die. A girl. Her name was, There'd been another experiment conducted in the same ship 9 years ago. A girl had died during it. Morphogenetic field theory. The 2 murders, switching clothes, the nonary game, and whatever strange thing was happening to Junpei himself. The maelstrom in his head spat out words and ideas that disappeared back into it almost as soon as he grasped them. But as he struggled through them, Junpei began to realize something. There was something that tied all of them together. Zero. He was the ringleader, the person who had trapped 9 people on a sinking ship. Zero knew everything. They could uncover Zero's identity. All their questions would be answered. Who was Zero? Junpei had the beginnings of a theory. He could only test it, or perhaps... At any rate, we'll have plenty of time to decipher the details later. For now, it is of utmost importance that we escape. Junpei, it was 4:30 the last time you checked the clock, yes. That means we have less than an hour. We must hurry. Hey, how are we gonna get out of here? Isn't that obvious? Through the other number 9 door. Oh yeah, you're right. With Snake, we can open the door. Don't tell me you hadn't figured that out. As they sniped back and forth, Junpei glanced at Snake's left hand. He was still wearing a bracelet with a 2 on it. Come on, you gotta tell me these things. I assumed you'd figured it out. Forget it. Let's just get going. 7 stomped off toward the smaller number 9 door. Clover, Snake, and Junpei followed. 7 quickly laid his hand on the red. An asterisk appeared on the screen. Junpei and the others followed suit and laid their hands on the scanner panel. Soon there were 4 asterisks on the screen. 7 glanced at them and laid his hand on the lever of the red. Right. You guys ready to go? Yes. Yep. Junpei paused for a moment. Not yet. Huh? Before we go in, I'd like to check something. You want to check something? Yeah, but before I do, 7, could you pull the lever? I want to make sure we can verify with just the 4 of us. What do you mean we don't need... Just do it, alright? But if the door opens, don't go in yet, okay? Please. This is really important. I really need to check this, okay? Work with me here. Junpei looked directly into 7's eyes. The older man looked back for a moment, then nodded. Fine. Pulled down on the lever, and door 9 creaked open. Then they waited. 6, 7, 8. After 9 seconds, the door closed. Also, I really like how the sound effects for this feel incredibly generic now when being run through an emulator. But it actually sounded pretty decent, as I recall, on an actual DS. Alright, that means the 4 of us can go into door 9. Oh, we knew that already. It's obvious. Obvious. Yeah, you're right, it is. Now what happens if we add Zero's bracelet? What? Zero's bracelet? Why don't you take it out, Clover? For a moment, Clover looked surprised, but she recovered quickly and stuck her tongue out at Junpei. So you did know I had it. Picked it up because I thought it might be useful sometime. She reached into one of the pockets of her voluminous jacket and produced a bracelet. Junpei took it from her and turned to 7. This was in the left hand of the corpse in the captain's quarters. If you look at it, you can see it's got a 0 on the face. Just to make this a little easier to talk about, I'm going to call the guy we found dead in the captain's quarters Cap. Cap was really 0, then I should be able to open door 9 with just me, Clover, and his bracelet. But most importantly, if you were Cap, and this was your game, would you really put one of these bracelets on yourself? Anyway, let's just give it a shot. Clover, give me your hand. Okay. After he and Clover scanned their bracelets, he waved Caps over the scanner panel. Then he pulled the lever. However, the door didn't open. The reds display read error. I knew it. Now, what does this tell us? Maybe the bracelet has to be on your wrist in order for it to work? No, that's impossible. Did you see how the panel showed a third asterisk when I scanned Cap's bracelet? Whether or not it's on your wrist doesn't matter. All you have to do is put the bracelet near the panel for it to register. Seven waved his bracelet in front of the scanner panel. Sure enough, a single asterisk appeared on the red. Huh, looks like you're right. See, so what does that mean? There's only one possibility. That bracelet isn't the number 0. Is that what you're saying? That's right. Then what number is it? Well, let's find out. Junpei. And the bracelet with... I'm just gonna go top to bottom because I don't remember in the slightest. This combination opened the door, then Cap's bracelet was number 2, however... that does not work. Door didn't open, it was not 2. Would it be... I mean, it wouldn't be everybody. Well, they don't even have the option for everybody. And let's do Snake and Clover. And Caps was number 3, however. Yeah, I'm just gonna go top to bottom. It'll be quicker that way than me trying to figure anything out. The door didn't open. Cap's number wasn't 3. Because I actually don't remember the twist here. Unless it's also 5 or something of that nature. Yeah, well, I'm thinking that it's O instead of 0, but I don't remember what that would be in and of itself. That's a possibility in which... Oops. I keep forgetting that I need to actually hit down rather than up. I think when I did this originally, I was just using the stylus for almost everything. In which case it wouldn't have bugged me because I can just click. Okay, so it opened for that. Oh, I should actually... Hey, it opened. The door opened. What? Why? What does that mean? Both Seven and Clover seemed rather shaken. Oh, that's a good point. As they turned to look at Junpei for answers. Oh, what was the combo there? The door slid heavily shut. Well, it's effectively 6, so... Junpei raised an eyebrow. Isn't it obvious? Cap's bracelet is number 6. But doesn't it say 0? This isn't a 0. The symbol on here isn't a number 0. Okay, so it is the letter O. It's a letter O. O? Well, wait a minute. I don't get it. I mean, we figured out the Cap's bracelet is 6, right? Yeah. Does that mean there are 2 people with 6s? Before Junpei could answer, Snake spoke up. There is most likely only 1 person with a 6, but I don't get it. What about June? Well, this is only an educated guess, but I think June's number was never 6 to begin with. Her bracelet was flipped. In other words, June's real number is 9? That seems the most likely. And all this numbered door stuff was just a load of crap? Why would you say that? Because if June's 9, then the numbers wouldn't match up. I had completely forgotten about this part. Clover grabbed Junpei's notebook and began to write furiously in it. Junpei leaned over to look at it. List of all the numbered doors June's gone through. Clover read each row out loud so that Snake could follow along. I'll be real honest, the only reason I remembered the O bracelet is because I remembered, I think it was door A, and I couldn't remember where it was. Alright, I made a list of all the numbered doors that June has gone through so far. Wrote down which door she went into, and with who. I wrote what all the numbers were. If you switch 9 in wherever there's a 6, the numbers don't work. The digital root is 7, you can't open door 4. The digital root's 2, you can't open door 8. Clover, do you notice anything interesting on that list? What do you mean? You're talking about 3, right? 3? Santa's always in the room with her. That's what you're saying, isn't it? Yes. Exactly. What about it? Quite simple, really. He told me the first time he came to this room, Santa was the first to refuse to leave June behind. Now doesn't that beg the question, why? Why would Santa do such a thing? The answer's easy. Because Santa can't open door 9 with only 7 in Lotus. Of course, there's only one reason for that. His number isn't actually 3. Santa's real number, 7. Would you be so kind as to modify my sister's equations? Yeah, sure. 7 took the pen from a confused Clover and began to adjust her calculations. This is what you were getting at, right, Snake? He read out the changes he made. When he finished, he looked at Snake. Snake smiled. Thank you. That is exactly right, 7. Santa's true number wasn't 3, it was 0. No way. Santa's 0? And June was 9, not 6. On the contrary, Santa was 0, not 3. Plus 3 and minus 3, they cancel one another out. Nothing appears out of order. And that means that even though he set the whole damn thing up, Santa was still playing by the rules in the nonary game this whole time. Precisely. So you're saying Santa planned this whole thing? Not sure if he acted alone or not. But I think it's safe to conclude that he is 0, if my hypothesis is correct. Clover bit her lip. She seemed to be having some difficulty believing her brother's explanation. Junpei remained silent and thought. Snake's hypothesis didn't satisfy him. June's bracelet was flipped. Even if that were possible, then there would have been 2 number 9 bracelets. And if that were the case... Alright, that's enough talking. Let's go. High time we went through that door. Yeah, Snake's blind. Which is the reason that he needed to have Clover read the thing, and then why he couldn't be the one actually fixing the paper. Door 9 opened. They leapt through. The dead was directly in front of them as they came through the door. Quickly they scanned their bracelets. And the detonator stopped. After pausing for a moment to catch their collective breath, Junpei and his companions headed down the long hallway in front of them. At the end was a set of stairs leading down into the ship. It looked as though they led all the way to the bottom deck. They looked down. It didn't seem to be flooded. After deciding it was safe, they headed down the stairs. Before long, Junpei and his companions found themselves on the bottom deck. They turned left into another hallway, at the end of which they found another door. And of course, there was a symbol engraved over the keyhole. Looked like the sort of harpoon one would use to hunt fish, the kind with 3 prongs. Snake traced the shape of it with his fingers. This is the Neptune symbol. There must be a key around here somewhere. Neptune key. All Junpei had the Uranus key card. Not the same planet, not even the same sort of key. Clearly it wasn't going to open this door. After examining the door for a few more minutes, they gave up and headed back the way they'd come. A little more searching, they found a metal door. The side of it was a card reader. A symbol was engraved onto the card reader. Matched the Uranus symbol on the key card Junpei was carrying. This is the place. He muttered to himself and slid the card through the reader. It beeped once and the light on it turned green. The heavy metal groaned, the door creaked open. Junpei, Clover, Snake, and Seven looked at one another, nodded, and stepped through. The room they found themselves in was full of books. It looked remarkably like a library. Not the sort of library where large numbers of people came to read books, more the sort of library that was simply a place to store books. He felt a little overwhelmed by the sheer number of books, but Junpei did his best to speak with authority. Alright, if we want to get through that door out there, we need the Neptune key, not the Junpei key. I say we split up and look for it. Okay. Very well. Sure thing. Good, let's get started then. We don't have a lot of time. Hurry. Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge. As he began his search for reasons he didn't fully understand, Junpei felt those particular words float through his mind. Also, I'm actually really glad the game keeps reminding you of these things, because I'd already forgotten about that entirely. There's a note on the table. Lights to the books. Well, what does that mean? Interesting. Well, intelligence often hides itself in darkness. Have you ever thought about the pages of a book? Each page only sees, what, maybe 2 or 3 minutes of light before the reader's on to the next? They spend the rest of their lives locked in darkness. Rather like myself. That's horrible. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. Not at all. I live in the darkness, yes, but that has gifted me with the ability to catch the truths others might miss. Okay, Batman. I can hear the voices hidden in the darkness, you might say. Bad kind. Okay. Wasn't that a German mathematician? Maybe it's a compilation of his work. Fibernitz? Books in German? Complete works of something. Never heard of it. Well, if Snake doesn't know what it is, I don't think we'll ever know. Sheldrake. Sheldrake, isn't Sheldrake... Owen, huh? Owen isn't enough to go on. Perhaps it's about the English Revolutionary? The Riemann hypothesis. What is there to hypothesize about with a Riemann? Isn't it pretty straightforward? Heavens no, there are many factors, length, girth, lubrication or lack thereof, exciting and rapidly growing field. Whoa. Weird book, Junpei. Indian mathematics. Oh, that's funny. Why is that funny? Old box. Conjecture. Conjecture? What's about? Like magic or psychic stuff or something? Right, I bet it's about jewelry, isn't it? It may have an odd title, but it's actually a very respectable mathematics book. It deals with one of the unsolved problems of additive number theory. Sorry I said anything. Look, let's not get into this right now, okay? And somehow it had completely skipped my mind just how many bad jokes there are here. Algebraic number theory. Math, huh? There's another one like that over there. You mean something like primary number theory or analytical number theory or geometry? Oh my gosh, how did you know? Nobody said anything about those. Well, number theory's usually split into 4 chief disciplines. If there was a book named Algebraic Number Theory, I took a wild guess that the other 3 would be there as well. Looks like I was right. Pythagorean theorem, this is a famous one. Sounds like there are a number of math books in this section. That's actually the one spot over there that I didn't intend to click. See what we've got here. So many books. I wonder what this one's... Whoa, what's this? Warm? Oh, sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry. What's the deal with this sappy stuff? Modern Japanese literature. This origin of Japanese folklore. There are a bunch of books about Japanese culture here. Mostly ones about folklore, though. Well, folklore can cover a wide range of subjects. History, urban life, religious trends, environmental changes, oral traditions. Folklore can cover all those things, if you know where to look. Looks pretty deep. Agriculture and historical organizations in folklore. Picture book here. Looks like it's an old folktale. Don't you think it's a little weird that this book's the only picture book? Maybe you ought to hold on to it. Dim lights on the floor. Dim lights set at 3 points across the floor. Bookshelf has sort of a glass inlay. Pretty big, but there are only 6 books on it. It seems kind of weird. Looks like there's something on the bottom. Can't really see it, though. The glass is all foggy. Okay, so it's a number lock. Books here in all sorts of languages. There's something suspicious about the shelf on the left, which is the one I can't open. Iron plate is bolted down. I don't think it's a door. I think it's just a wall. No. Wall with iron plates bolted to it. Book is called Mind Swap. I mean, you could, like, change bodies with something? Well, I guess I wouldn't mind switching bodies with my brother or Junpei too much, but I'd rather die than let Seven switch with me. What the hell? I could even want to swap bodies with a little brat, like... Hey, were you just imagining it? You were. Shut up. Yeah, well, he wasn't the only one. Teletemporation and telepathy. What the hell is this one about? I know what telepathy is, but I've never heard of teletemporation. First to having the ability to travel through time. It says the golden rabbit and the moon on it. Does that mean it's about a rabbit that lives on the moon? Rabbits are pretty cute, but what's the moon stuff about? Talking about the Judas tree that's said to grow on the moon, according to Chinese legend. I actually don't know how to say that first name. Kitab? Al-Azif? Oh man, they've got some weird stuff here. I can't even pronounce this one. Who's that? Some famous guy? Not a person's name. It's the name of a fictional book created by Abdul al-Hazred? It's said to be one of the sources used in the creation of the legendary Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon. Oh, so these are all occult books and stuff. Why did mankind lose their tails? Junpei, do you know what this one's about? Why are you asking me? I didn't even know we had tails to lose. Maybe you should ask a human with a tail. Mankind's ancestors most likely lost their tails as they were no longer useful, and the nutrients required to grow them were better put to use elsewhere. At least that's what I read. I was rather young, I may have remembered incorrectly. Why the hell would a kid be reading a book like that? Micrographia, huh? Ah yes, Robert Hooke's famous work, first published in 1665, built a microscope, examined insects and organic substances and other things too small to be seen in detail by human eyes. He then drew pictures of many of the things he had examined and published them in a book. I'd hazard a guess the shelf is conserved for the natural sciences. Creatures of the South Seas. Wonder if this one's got pictures of colorful fish. Introduction to geology. Thinking about the Earth, even when you're on the ocean. Kind of romantic in a way, I guess. It says, transition of extinct species. You need to hurry it up, or we're going to end up in the pages of a book like that. Paleontology. This one's about fossils, right? Ammonites are pretty nasty looking. Theory of evolution? Heck, even I know this one. This is that Darwin guy, right? Well, yes and no. Charles Darwin wrote a book called On the Origin of Species. In it, he put forth his theory of evolution. Yeah, I remember that part. He called it natural selection. Exactly. Mother Nature. Is that some sort of book about hippie chicks? Probably not, except perhaps tangentially. It's most likely about environmental protection. I was just trying to make a joke. Dude, hippie chicks? Really? Theories of the Cambrian explosion. Did a bomb go off near somewhere called Cambria? Wrong kind of explosion. Roughly 500 million years ago, during what is known as the Cambrian period, research suggests that the variety of living organisms increased by an order of magnitude. Why that happened is, however, still somewhat of a mystery. There are a number of theories. This book is most likely a collection of them. Energy theory, huh? I don't even understand the damn title. Looks like the shelf's all science and technology. Okay, so this one looks promising. If for no other reason, there's only, 4 books on the shelf. To deal with these titles, they're all just gibberish. Hey, what if we, switch them around? Switch them around? Yeah. What if we move them around, maybe they'll spell something. Oh, I get it. I'm not sure if I remember the movie version of Clue. It's worth a shot. So, I suspect... How about this? It's like putting those books in the right order, open this thing on the right. Right up. That was a piece of cake. Hooray. You did it, Junpei. I guess that turned out well enough. So the letters from the title spell out, open here, find bulb. Okay, so now we have a powerful light bulb. I don't think there's going to be anything else here. Ah, that's interesting. Overview of conformal field theory. What's a theory that posits an invariant quantum field where conformal transformation can take place? Knock it off with this science voodoo stuff. You're trying to put me to sleep. Energy theory, development of nanotechnology materials, interactions between shortwave energy and matter. What else have we got? Just listening to you read those titles is giving me a headache. Can't say fancy technology stuff and I get along real well. Keep on talking about that stuff and you're gonna put me to sleep. Whole hypothesis, gamma ray, something. I didn't actually read it. This bookshelf has an astrology theme. And maybe this has more stuff for us to pick up? Hey, it's another one of those kids' picture books. Looks a lot like the other one we found. One has some Native Americans on the cover. Hey Junpei, take a look at it. Native Americans, huh? Maybe it's got some... Whoa. Pop-up book. Okay, so let's take a look at the other one. Got a magic wand on it, and okay. So what's inside? Well, aren't you gonna open it? Pretty sure it's just gonna have pages inside, smartass. Whoa! SE5 in either I or 1. Okay, so... What's Hellenism? I think it's something like a fusion of Greek and Oriental culture. This one just looks just like that picture book from earlier. The one with the pop-ups. You think they're part of a series or something? They do have the same binding. Okay. Oops. Come on, Junpei, let's see what's in it. I'm gonna go out here on a limb and say it's probably baseball stuff. Ed. Okay. So, I don't know if that's everything we need, but I think it is. Dim lights on the floor. Dim lights are set at 3 points. Small enclosure with 9 sides. 3 of these things look kinda like music stands. Okay, how about you try putting these picture books on the stands, then... A little weird. So now we need to replace one of these with a stronger bulb. They aren't very bright, however. Didn't we find some kind of really powerful light bulb earlier? Why don't you put it in one of those lights? Yeah, well, it'll get a lot brighter, but if there are 3 lights, that means 3 light bulbs. There won't be much point unless we can replace all 3 bulbs. We need 3 light bulbs, huh? Okay. Oh, and there's also that, what did that note say again? I think it just said lights to the books. Okay. Already did that. I think we've done all of them on... Oh, that's the same in-group. Mother Nature. Do you think we should hold hands when there aren't any handrails? I'll be fine. I can feel vibrations in the floor that tell me where I am. That's not what I meant. Maybe it's... What's that one called? It says Foundations of DNA and Genetic Engineering. I think I'm just looking for ones that have, take a look at it. Okay. A whole lot of space behind these books. So that's probably where the light bulb is. Electricity pay, I think there's something hidden behind the books. Yeah, okay, so we have 2 of the 3 light bulbs. Maybe it's up here. I think I'm just looking for books that stand out a little bit. What's that? Some sort of comic book? Geez, I guess boys really like that stuff, huh? No, you're thinking of a different sort of robot. This book is talking about automated machinery used to build things like cars. Maybe this top left one? Oh no, that's the mind swap one. I seem to recall this being a little bit easier to differentiate on the actual DS. Okay, so that's that bookshelf again. I doubt it's going... Well, okay, yeah, it can't be the same bookshelf. Okay. Oh, maybe it is... Oh, we actually need to turn around. Well, now I'm wondering, is it this? Lock on the glass door won't budge. Couple books on the glass shelf. From left to right, they say 632415. Well, there is a number lock here. Cylinder lock, kind of lock where you rotate numbers around until you've got the right ones to open it. What the hell is this? It's like they just gave us the answer. Guess I might as well give it a shot. Yeah, 6. I think it was 32415. Of course, I click right past that. You did it, Junpei. Oh, why, but I don't really feel particularly happy about being praised for that. Whatever. At least the lock's open now. Let's see if we can get it open, alright? All 6 books seem to be pointing at the cylinder number lock. And that's the final light bulb. Okay. Alright, so 3 light bulbs. 3 lights in here. Gonna change the bulbs. Now they should... Sheldrake 5. Awesome, it worked. Way to go, Junpei. Good job, buddy. Something projected on the bottom. These letters, they seem familiar. The Sheldrake on the spine of the books. Got the volume number written in the lower part of the spine. Yeah, what? Why aren't you... Do I need to click on this some more? Apparently I did. Sheldrake 5. Sheldrake. Junpei read the text out loud. I think I saw the rest of the collection somewhere. Yeah, I think it was somewhere around here. Go take a look. Okay. Seven and Clover walked off, leaving Junpei and Snake behind. Have you heard of him? Sheldrake, I mean. Junpei grinned. Yeah. Lotus told me about him. There's a British biochemist named Sheldrake. Yeah. He had a rather interesting theory, the theory of morphogenetic fields, which relies on the theory of morphic resonance. Really? From Lotus, huh? Well, Clover also said something to me about that stuff. She did? Yeah, what was it? The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. That girl... I told her not to tell anyone. Did? Why? Junpei's eyes narrowed. Look, man, I didn't push it because we're in a hurry, but I'm kind of sick of this. How about you just tell me, okay? Tell you what? Don't gimme that. About the experiment. Snake's shoulders slumped, and he shook his head slowly. He'd finally given up. Very well. Fine. I'll tell you everything. But not here. Let's move to the top floor. Junpei nodded. With that, they climbed the stairs to the top floor. Snake was silent for a moment after they arrived, then finally crossed his arms and spoke. I suppose I might as well start by telling you why I kept quiet, and why I made sure Clover did as well. To be honest, the explanation's quite simple. Zero told me not to. I had little choice. He didn't walk up and tell me, of course. He gave me a message engraved on a card. Snake reached into his sleeve and pulled out a small, stiff piece of paper. Looked a good deal like the one he'd shown everyone on the central staircase. So you had 2 cards? No, only one. Huh? What do you mean? I thought that card just had some rules for the nonary game on it. Yes, it did. And those were the rules I read you. However, they were not the only thing on the card. There was something I didn't read. Well, perhaps I should say, there was something I couldn't read. And that was... Tell no one of the events that took place 9 years ago. Tell, and I activate your sister's detonator. Oh, well, Snake nodded. What about Clover? Did she get a message from Zero too? I don't believe she did. But doesn't it strike you as strange that Zero would shut my mouth, but not hers? Yeah, that does seem a little weird. To be on the safe side, however, I told her it was best not to tell anyone. Well, apparently she told you. That girl. What's wrong with her telling me? I figured some stuff out with the things she told me. I mean, it looks like the whole activate her detonator thing was just a bluff. She's prancing around downstairs happy as a clam now that you're back. Snake glanced down at Clover and Seven, examining one of the bookshelves. Very true. Decided I can trust you. Decided to tell you the truth. The chance that Santa's Zero is very high. I feel I can assume that Santa doesn't have the time to observe us at the moment. And at any rate, even if he were, I doubt very much he would kill us. Why not? Clover told me about the 4-leaf clover, about the words. He knew about that, then he was in my group during the first experiment. I'm sure of it. He wouldn't kill us, no matter what the situation was. Snake paused and cocked his head as though he was listening to something very far away. Well, I mean, aside from the whole killing the 4 people in this group by, leaving you locked in that coffin. His face looked dark, as though something was weighing on him. Hey, Snake. Junpei wasn't quite sure what to say. Snake turned and looked at him. Yes, I know. You want to know what happened during the experiment? Yeah. How much do you know? Junpei relayed to Snake everything Clover had told him. The morphogenetic field and the experiments 9 years prior that had dealt with it. How the experiment had taken place simultaneously at 2 locations, one being the ship and the other being a building in Nevada. How they'd played the nonary game. He told him everything. And finally, he told him how a girl had died during the experiment. Oh, she told you all that, did she? Snake looked down. His face was tight. A slight tremor shook his body, and he tried to hide it. He was putting on a good front, but even Junpei could tell he was holding back something deep and powerful. He made as if to brush something from his face, and looked up at Junpei. At any rate, I now know how much you've learned. All that remains for us to determine is who did this and why, right? Yes. Can you tell me what happened? Snake nodded slowly. The people who organized the initial experiment were from a company called Cradle Pharmaceutical. There were 4 of them running the show. Kentaro Hongo, Nagisa Nijisaki, Hiroaki Kubota, Kagachika Musashido. Hongo was CEO of Cradle Pharmaceutical. Nijisaki was his right-hand man and did the lion's share of the planning. Kubota led the company's research and development division. Musashido was their majority stockholder. It was these 4 people who planned the initial experiment. Let me simplify it for you. Hongo designed it, Nijisaki put it all together. Kubota developed the technology required, and Musashido provided the cash. So it's Hongo, Nijisaki, Kubota, Musashido. Junpei couldn't shake the sense that he had heard those 4 names somewhere before. Also this, in a weird way, and it's actually probably entirely because of the fact that the names are Japanese. Kinda feels like a reference to, oh man, I'm drawing a blank on the name. I guess I shouldn't have brought it up if I couldn't remember the name. Of course, more than 4 people were required to conduct an experiment of this scale. To that end, they organized a top-secret team to assist them with their research. All in all, they gathered 10 people or so. Those 10 completed their team, and they were able to begin their project. They named it the Nonary Project. It's, I'm gonna Google it real quick. It's one of the things related to Nobunaga. And of course I can't. That's it. Except that was only 3 people, so never mind. And what I was thinking of was the Nobunaga kneaded the dough, the Yoshi baked the pie, and Ieyasu ate the pie. But again, that's 3 people, not 4. But I don't know why that was immediately brought to mind for me. The purpose of the experiment was to research the prospect of controlling a human mind through sheer will. The vessel, I suppose you could say. for control was the morphogenetic field. Why did the glycerin suddenly begin to crystallize? Why did the crystal structure of EDT undergo a sudden change? Why did the rats improve their puzzle-solving skills with each generation? Experiments with humans produced the same results. The more people who knew the answer to a question, the more people there were who could answer correctly without having seen the problem before. Why? How? The answer is that the shape of the answer has been stored in a field invisible to the naked eye. And through that field, the resonant event transmits information related to that answer. That's essentially the idea behind morphogenetic fields. That's just a theory. You can't bring yourself to believe it. Not really. Let's say someone killed another person because the devil told them to do it. Whether the devil exists or not has no relevance to the murderer. They believe the devil exists. Whether or not he does is immaterial. What matters here is that Hongo believed in the morphogenetic field. Snake nodded. But I still don't get it. You said they wanted to figure out how to control people, right? That's what you were saying? Yes. But how are they going to do that with a morphogenetic field? I'll keep it simple. Let's suppose 10,000 people have solved a certain problem. The chance of you knowing that answer, even if no one has told you, will go up. Let's have another example, shall we? Say 1 million people were to do a handstand right now. Tomorrow, the chances of you doing a handstand would be higher, even if you had heard nothing of this hypothetical mass handstanding. Mankind's thought processes and actions are all part of a resonant event. All of the resonant events encoded in the field are projected onto you. Of course, this assumes you believe in this theory. Do you follow so far? Yeah. But let's say, hypothetically, that there was a person who had the same effect as those millions of people. What would happen? If that one person were to do a handstand, other people would find themselves wanting to do handstands as well. Can you imagine what a person with powers like that would be able to do? Come on, there's no way. I'm not done. Imagine another scenario. Imagine another person. This is an ordinary person. Let's say he does a handstand. What if there was someone who could grab the resonant event he created by doing that and use it to make other people to do handstands? What would happen then? A person who has the power to write the field and someone who can read from the same. You can think of them as a writer and reader, a transmitter and a receiver. What would the world be like if there were people with abilities like these? Junpei thought about it for a moment. The transmitter's resonant event can be transmitted through the field and sent to the receiver. And the transmitter can control the receiver however they wish. That's what you're saying, right? Yes, well, close enough at least. Come on, that's just crazy. Well, if you want to prove that, then you'll have to test it first. At least that was how they thought. That was why they decided to do their experiment. That was how the Nonary project began. Snake suddenly looked very serious. Junpei, have you ever heard of the Ganzfeld experiment? No, I haven't. Junpei shook his head. You place a pair of subjects in separate rooms, then you show one a picture and ask the other what they see. In theory, it's supposed to test for the existence of telepathy. Oh, so why did you bring up the Ganzfeld experiment? It was used to screen subjects for the Nonary project. The hospital in a remote town was affiliated with Cradle Pharmaceutical. Hongo used it to conduct experiments on visiting children in secret. Some of them he found had potential. He began to gather children that showed promise, children that seemed as though they might be able to access the field. Of course, none of them had volunteered. They were kidnapped. His face barely moved as he spoke. There were 9 pairs of siblings taken, for 18 children total. For reasons that were not fully understood at the time, each pair had 1 transmitter and 1 receiver. They were split perfectly. As such, the 18 children were split into 2 groups of 9. The children who were put in Group Q were the ones who excelled at transmitting. They were transferred to the mock experiment building known as Building Q in the Nevada desert. Children who excelled at receiving were put in Group A. Members of Group A were placed on the former hospital ship Gigantic. From the experiments he had conducted so far, Hongo had learned the following. There were 2 things that can increase one's resonance with the fields. The first is epiphany. The other is danger. Have you ever been faced with an especially difficult problem and thought about it very long and hard until finally an answer suddenly appeared in your mind? It may seem obvious to say so, but that's what's meant by epiphany. The information obtained through that epiphany can be easily transmitted through the field, or it can be easily transmitted through the field, or it can be easily interpreted. Adding danger to that equation allows for even easier field access. Therefore, Hongo set up a number of puzzles across the Gigantic. The participants had to solve each puzzle before they could move to the next room. Of course, he hadn't forgotten to include danger. More specifically, he had detonated a bomb on the hull of the Gigantic. The children in Group A were forced to play the nonary game as the ship sunk. By forcing the children into a life-or-death situation, Hongo hoped to increase the likelihood of their tapping into the fields. Children from Group Q, on the other hand, were confined to the mock experiment building, Building Q. Building Q duplicated the interior and the puzzles of the Gigantic exactly. Hongo explained the situation to the children in Group Q. Solve the puzzles you find throughout the rooms. When you solve them, transmit that information to the children in Group A. If you succeed, they will be able to solve the puzzles and escape. But if you fail, then the Gigantic will sink and your brothers and sisters will drown. Do you know why the astronauts of Apollo 13 were able to return to Earth safely? It was because NASA had access to a replica of the Apollo 13 capsule. All the equipment, the instruments, everything, all of it identical. NASA was able to replicate the situation the astronauts were facing. By putting themselves in the same situation, they attempted to solve the problems they knew the astronauts were experiencing. Once they had found solutions, they reported their findings to the men aboard the actual capsule. That was how they were able to return safely. It was the same with the Gigantic and Building Q. Children from Group Q had to use the power of epiphany to solve the puzzles they found. Transmit what they learned through the fields. The children in Group A, however, had to access the fields to learn how they might advance to the next stage. That's the simplest explanation I can manage. So basically, the children in Group Q had brains, and the children in Group A did not. Snake sounded defeated. His half-hearted attempt at derision served only to show how much the story had affected him. Just as Junpei was about to speak, "Hey, Junpei, Snake, how much longer are you two going to sit around on those bony asses? Get down here already." Seven's voice echoed up from below. Snake took a deep breath and blinked rapidly, as if just waking up from a long nap. "He's right. Let's go, shall we? We don't have much time. We need to get out of here, and soon." Snake headed for the stairs, but Junpei put out an arm to stop him. "Hold it. There's one more thing I want to ask you. Are you sure that there were 18 kids?" "Why?" "Well, I thought it was only 16. "Oh, yes, that's what they said on the news, wasn't it? Yeah, I've no doubt that 18 children were abducted and used in Hongo's experiment. After all, you couldn't exactly play an honorary game with any less, could you?" "Well, yeah, but..." "Are you saying the news got it wrong?" "Yes, I am. There were 2 more children. However, they had no relatives that I'm aware of. I imagine no one filed a police report when they went missing. They were brother and sister, like Clover and I. The brother's name was Aoi, or Blue. Sister's name, her name was..." Nick couldn't seem to bring himself to continue. It looked as if what he was about to say brought him great pain. Her name was Akane. That was the girl who died. Junpei felt as if he'd been punched in the stomach. His vision went blurry and his head felt light. He couldn't think straight. Everything was blank. Had Akane Kurashiki died 9 years ago? If she had, then who was June? No, that was impossible. Couldn't be true. Akane wasn't an uncommon name. If Snake had known her last name, then this would have been a different matter entirely. But they shared a name. There were many other people who did as well. It meant nothing. It was a different person. Of course it was a different person. Had to be. Junpei shook his head hard and pulled himself back to reality. "Is something wrong, Junpei? Your breathing sounds strange. And Snake had noticed. Junpei cleared his throat and tried to act calm. Oh, no, it's nothing. I'm fine. Get back down there, alright? Snake raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. He headed down the stairs, Junpei bringing up the rear. He couldn't bring himself to ask. He told himself he knew the answer already, but he couldn't bring himself to ask what the girl's last name had been. Every step he took, the cold, hard sound of feet against metal dug at his heart. And now, finally, we can take Sheldrake 5. Sheldrake, this is it. This is what the shadow picture was pointing to. But didn't it say 5 at the end of the shadow... at the end of the shadow picture? Yes, I think we need to find the 5th volume. Well, would you look at that? There's a big red button behind this book. I guess we should press the button. What was that sound? Sounded like something really big was moving. It came from the top floor. Alright, let's go check it out. Before we do that, I'm going to turn around to see if... Oh no, actually we cannot see the difference from up here. No? What is the light? 13, 14, 10, 13? Keyboard in front of the numbers, 4 Roman numerals on the wall. Gotta be a hint of some kind. 13, 14, 10, and 13. They're all Roman numerals. Do you think we just need to put the numbers from the wall on the keyboard? But you can't. The keyboard doesn't have any numbers. You can't type in stuff like 3 or 4. Which means it's, of course, hex again. I bet you gotta type something on the keyboard. You can only enter letters. Only enter 4 letters. See how it works. Hit enter once you type in the letters, and you can erase what you typed with clear. Okay, so we get the basic operations. Let's give it a shot. Why would space be the enter key? Yay, you did it, Junpei. It's unlocked now. Good job, Junpei. Oh there, don't get too excited. The password was dead, remember? Makes me think whatever's waiting for us isn't good. What? Geez, you're such an old lady. You can't be worrying about stuff like that. I mean, come on. We got it to unlock, didn't we? Go, hurry up. What are these doors? Alright, so let's get this thing open. I finished the shadow puzzle like 20 minutes ago, didn't I? The door opened, and Junpei and the others leapt through it. No sooner had they done so, than the clang of metal on metal rang out behind them. They spun around. The door they'd just come through had slammed shut. Junpei grabbed hold of it with both hands and pulled with all of his strength. Damn it. Looks like it locks automatically. Is there any other way out? There's another door on the right. There's a card reader next to it. Got a red light on it though, so I'm pretty sure it's locked too. There is a card reader, right? Yeah. And perhaps if we find a key card, we could open the door and leave. Well, yeah, that might work, but... Hey, wait a minute. Are you saying we're gonna have to search through this room for one little card? Oh man. They took a second look at the room they found themselves in. Well, it actually looks a lot less trashed and full of trash than the initial look at the door with the card reader made it look. It was filled with piles and piles of all manner of things. Only word that could describe it was chaotic. Like a tornado had passed through, followed by a giant who had picked up and shaken the entire room a few times. Junpei's heart fell. Clover and Seven looked as though they were about to cry. We can sit down and wait to die if that's what you'd prefer. Rather doubt that, however, so it'd be wise to start looking. We haven't much time. Let's find that key card. Oh, and the Neptune key as well. We won't be able to get through the hallway without it. Alright then, let's begin. How is this a study? I mean, I know these things need names, but... Hey Junpei, isn't this a nautical table? Yeah, I feel like I've seen this before. Oh, that's going to be in the files. What is that? Okay. So, southwest, southeast, northeast, east, north, east. What? Control panel in front of the big screen here. Wonder if any of these buttons do anything. Something on the screen now. What's this? There are 15 cells here with numbers and letters in them. Let me see that. Ah, I see. So whenever you touch a cell, the ones next to it turn on or off. You just gotta use that to make all cells on the right and bottom green. Hey Junpei, I found this piece of paper under that thing. You wanna take a look at it? Do you think this might have something to do with the puzzle? It's a piece of paper Clover gave me. There are a bunch of numbers and letters connected by equal signs on it. Just like she said, this is probably related to the puzzle on the screen somehow. Thanks, Clover. This really helps. Alright, so let's go back and try again. Anyway, it looks like I just need to make all the cells all green. Okay, so those are the two we need for that. I was actually just trying to get it back to the state where that middle L was lit up again. You did it, Junpei. You're so smart. Sure. You seem to have done an excellent job and solved the puzzle, just what I would have expected of you, Junpei. Hey, come on, you're embarrassing me. Oh, don't get cocky, kid. We ain't got time for that. Look at this. Check out the right edge of the control panel. The lid slid open, something came out. Okay, so... cross emblem. That's where the emblems go. Oh, this is, I assume this is going to be related to that map we found. I mean, I guess you weren't there, Clover, but I solved a puzzle like this one in the wheelhouse. I think I just need to do the same thing here. Same thing. The important part is this nautical table we just found. I just have to match up the direction of the compass with the lines on the nautical table. Use the steering wheel on the wheelhouse, but this time I think I'm going to use the wheel attached to the side here. Okay, then show me, now. Of course. Maybe I ought to run through the instructions. This looks like it probably works the same way the steering wheel on the wheelhouse did. If I just touch the direction I want it to turn to, the compass will turn that direction. Then I just gotta press stop when the compass is pointing where I want it to. I'm betting something will happen if I can do it right. Yeah, this little panel on the right to the right of the blue screen is probably going to open. Alright, so let's do this. Oh, that's actually convenient. and then east once again. Okay, so yeah, you did it, Junpei. Good boy. Who's a good boy? Knock it off. You don't have time for screwing around right now. Check out the right side of the monitor. It's kind of slid open. Something came out. Another crest. Oh yeah, heard a noise too. You know that big box in the hall by the exit? I think it made a noise, like something unlocking, you know? A noise, huh? So presumably this is going to be based off of a lot of puzzles, fairly similar to ones we've done before. See what happens when I don't remember this. Oh, well, now we've got something on the screen at least. Huh, what is this? Oh, wait a minute. I saw something like this when I figured out that Morse code puzzle back. Oh. Morse code. Yeah. Dots in here look like the dits for Morse code. There's 2 dots on the first, 4 on the second, and 1 on the last line. I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, perhaps you should give it a shot anyway. Alright, I'll try. Before I do that, though, maybe I ought to run through the instructions. If I just tap the button, it'll enter a dit. If I hold the button down, it'll enter a da. Once we enter our answer, it'll automatically determine if it was the correct answer or not. Alright, let's do this. I have no idea. What the code is supposed to be. Oh, we got something on the monitors at least. What's that? Like some kind of puzzle. I wonder if these are the rules. Here, I'll read them to you. When you touch a numbered area, that area will be selected and it will turn blue to indicate this. Touching a numbered ball after selecting an area will cause that ball to be moved to that area. However, you cannot move the red balls. You can only move 3 to 5 balls into a single area. Press the check button once you've moved all the balls, except for the red ones, which you can't move. The digital root in the balls must match the number for that area. That's it. I still don't really get it. Whatever, like I said, practice makes perfect. Practice makes prefects. Junpei. Let's give it a shot. Don't you mean practice makes perfect? Hey, let's see you solve the next one. You can make fun of me. Okay. So. Oh, whoops. Well, actually, that works perfectly fine. Except it won't in this case. Yeah. Oh, I actually see what I'm doing wrong. I was adding incorrectly. Okay, this is it, right? But nothing's happening. There's still 3 more indentations left empty. Imagine something will happen when they are all filled. Doesn't that seem likely? Yep, so let's get a second one in there. Across. Hey Junpei, something just showed up on the screen. This puzzle sure looks a lot like the last one. Yeah, but there's more of those red balls you can't move. Numbers for each area are different as well. Looks like they got the same rules as the last one though. Sure you don't want to double check that? No, I'll be fine. If I get confused, I can just look at the screen over there, right? Anyway, like I said, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Give it a shot. Isn't that a picture's worth 1,000 words? Hey, shut at least I'm trying, alright? Okay, so 1 and 9 are blocked. So, the easy way for this is to do a three number solution that works for one of them. And it has to work for the other one. Awesome, Junpei. There's only 2 left now. You can do it. Well, actually, no, we can't do it right now. We need We need more solutions. Or something's written on these pieces of paper. Looks like we got 3 sheets of the stuff. Oh, more things in the file screen. Oh, that's also just the same. Piles of crap everywhere. Place is a mess. So messy I don't know where to start. Some of this crap looks familiar. I think a lot of these are parts of the puzzles we've solved in other rooms. Yeah, we can actually kind of see a, I think it's a red at the bottom there. If that's true, then this room could be Zero's lab. Perhaps Zero would shut himself in this room to devise the machines and puzzles he'd need to see his plan come to fruition. What? Look, Junpei, the rust on here looks like Elvis's face. Yeah, how exciting. Piles of crap everywhere. Pretty impressive mess. Try and search every one of these. We're going to be at it till the cows come home. Doesn't seem too bad. We won't have to go bring them in ourselves then. Don't get smart with me, kid. How about we deal with this area later, guys? Maybe we should try something more promising. Inside this machine, rust makes it feel rough. Ventilation fans, metal bars with openings, can't go through them. Well, maybe it's in that file. Oh, that's what this was. But that doesn't really help. Monitor is part of the machine, really dim though. Got a map of the world on it, but can barely see it. Oh, maybe... Alright, so let's give it another shot before I do that though. Maybe I ought to run through the instructions. No, I was hoping to get a little clue as to what the hell I'm supposed to enter. I know it's... Well, it was, what, 2, 4, 1? Well, that's either an E or a B. 4 is most of the letters, though. So, yeah, that's not going to be helpful. What's this thing? Metal shutter looks pretty sturdy, framed with black and yellow warning stripes. Alright, let's open it. It's another coffin. Holy shit, that's pretty damn creepy. A coffin in there. A coffin. Oh man, does Seven think? Yeah, he's all pale. He's thinking the same thing I am. No way. Could this be... Oh, I'm sorry, but what's going on? The coffin. I wonder if there's a vampire in it. Right, I guess Clover and Snake don't know the story. Man, I can't bring myself to tell them. But at any rate, let's have a look around. Little plaque on the coffin. Snake's touching it. All ice. Ah, the 2 machines. Holy shit. Man, this is serious. Well, let's open it, shall we? Clover, if you could give me a hand. Okay, I got it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Ah. No luck. Doesn't seem to be ready to open. Yeah, but it's not like it's screwed shut or something. Yeah, I believe it's locked in some other way. E7, you think you could open it with your superhuman strength? No, what's wrong? I think I'll just pass on this one, okay? What the heck? Alright, I'll just have to give up on the coffin for now. Let's look around the room a little more, shall we? Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge beneath the navel of the Gigantic. Is that actually true? Well, that does give me an idea for this that I wouldn't have thought of. We figured out what you're supposed to enter here. Looks like the word's supposed to go here is 3 letters. It's got 3 lines. I think each line's 1 letter. Perhaps the letters you need are made up of 2 symbols, 4 symbols, and 1 symbol respectively. After all, isn't that what you just said? One line has 2. Yeah. I know this. So in other words, gotta enter dots or dashes. I want to get in here and then check and see if ice is 2, 4, 1. Because I know the E is 1. Oops, that's not even the right thing. Yeah, ice is 2, 4, 1. I'm willing to bet that's it. I think it's just 1. See, it seems you have solved the puzzle, Junpei. Excellent work. The answer was ice. How did you know? All I had to do was listen to the sounds the machine made. After that, it was a trivial matter to decode them. Ah, yes, I believe I heard a noise from somewhere on the right of the device. After you solved the puzzle. It sounded rather like something sliding open. Do you see anything that could have made that noise? Yeah, it's true. Ah, yes, one more thing. I heard a sound from behind the shutter. Perhaps the coffin's unlocked now. What? Alright, fine, I'll open it. Okay, Junpei, you can do this. It's just a box. It's just a box. Oh, holy shit, that's a coffin. There's gonna be something horrible in there. I just know it. Okay, deep breaths. Here we go. It's empty. Oh man, there's nobody in there. Shit, can't believe I was scared of something like that. What do you mean nobody? Were you expecting someone to be in there? It's a long story. Ask Junpei about it sometime. Just like Seven said, there's nobody in there. There's something in there, though. Well, 2 somethings, actually. What's that? Another crest and a key. Looks like we got a plate with an emblem on it and a Neptune key. Yes, we finally found it. Now we can get through the hallway. Correct, Clover, but we do need to get out of this room first, you know? Yeah, I know, okay. Let's get the hell out of here as quickly as possible. I don't have any objections to that. I don't think we'll use the Neptune key in this room. Really important though, so I'll keep it in my pocket for now. As far as this other thing goes, it is the Coffin emblem. Let's get that in there. Alright, I guess nothing happens if I put that in there. Junpei, don't you think maybe that's the wrong emblem? See how the symbols are engraved in each of the indentations? They've got numbers in there too. 1 steering wheel, 2 cross, 3 mysterious circle, and 4 waffle patterns. What's the order they're in? You've already put the steering wheel and cross in, so the next would be... Yeah, shut up. Okay, let's put in the emblem of the secret code. And this puzzle looks a lot like the last one. Looks like the rules are the same though. Don't you think you should double check it? Come on, this is the 3rd time I've done this. It'll be fine. This, I can't think of anything clever. Please don't strain yourself. You might hurt something. Shut up. Give me a break, alright? I'll think of something. Okay. Oh. That's not right. Excellent work, Junpei. You've only got 1 left. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. See what happens when I put the emblem of the coffin into this indentation. This is the 4th one. This puzzle looks a lot like that last couple. I think this is probably the last one. Once we solve this puzzle, I'm sure something will happen. Alright. I'll solve it in no time. But how? Like, the 8 is easy. But the 9 is not because of the need for 3 people. There's no way to do 9 with any of these. Yeah, the 9 won't open. Actually, I have an idea. It does say you need between 3 and 5, but I suspect this is the same as the way the actual nonary game works. Yeah. Where did that noise come from? Underneath the keyboard? Way to go, Junpei. You answered all the questions. Damn, Junpei. Good job. Hey, did you hear something just now? Yes, I heard that as well. From the bottom left corner of the desk, I believe. Keyboard. I can pound away on the keys all I want. Nothing's happening. A little curious about the drawer under it, though. What is that a picture of? Picture? In the drawer was a single picture. Picked it up. It was a photograph of 4 men. Ah. Involuntarily, Junpei's eyebrows shot up. He'd seen 3 of them before. On the right was a man with a mustache, the same man they'd found murdered in the captain's quarters. He'd been wearing the 0 bracelet when they found him. Well, I guess I should keep calling that the O bracelet. Second from the left was a man wearing glasses and a doctor's coat. He was the 9th man, the one who'd worn bracelet number 9. He'd gone into door 5 alone and met an unpleasant end. Finally, the man on the very left, the man in the pinstripe suit. Oh man, that's Ace. Yeah, I guess it is. No doubt about it. Seven and Clover had come to peer over Junpei's shoulder. But what did it mean? What was Ace doing in the picture? Perhaps more importantly, why were the 9th man and Cap in it as well? As Junpei looked closer, he noticed the expression on each man's face. Their smile suggested that they were close, at least to some degree. But why? How? What was the relationship between these 4 men? Snake's voice broke into Junpei's thoughts. You say Ace is in that picture. Yeah. Doesn't look like it was taken recently, though. Ace, the 9th man, and Cap all look about 10 years younger. Ah, so the 9th man and the man you found murdered in the captain's quarters are also on the picture. Yeah. Is there anyone else? Or are there only 3 people in the picture? I'm afraid I can't see it. No, there's one more guy. Got kind of long hair. Looks smart, but a little cold. He's the only one I don't recognize. I'm real glad they put Snake's picture over it. That kind of highlight that he looks sort of similar. Snake knit his eyebrows. What's the date of the photograph? Doesn't have one. Did you look on the back? The back? Yes, the reverse, the other side. Junpei flipped the picture over. There it was. Praying for the success of the Nonary project. Nijisaki, Kubota, and Musashido. To be precise, it was not a date, but it was certainly significant. Read it out loud so that Snake would not be left in the dark. Praying for this what I just said, but without the mumbling. Nonary project. Nijisaki, Kubota, Musashido. Junpei immediately flipped the picture back over. That meant the 4 men in the picture had run the Nonary game 9 years ago. Only Hongo had not been mentioned on the back, which Junpei felt meant he had written those words himself. But what surprised Junpei was not this revelation, but like the fact that it felt nothing like a revelation. It felt obvious. Their true identities did not come as a surprise, was what Junpei found most surprising. Why then? Why wasn't he surprised? Junpei had just discovered that Ace had run the Nonary project, but he felt no spark of excitement, surprise, nothing. It was almost as if he'd already known. Ah, of course. I understand now. Junpei looked over at Snake. In his own confusion, he'd missed the dark look on the other man's face. Ace was the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceutical. He was the one who invented the game 9 years ago. He was Gentaro Hongo. I don't fucking know. Ace is Hongo? Even as he asked, Junpei felt as though he'd already known. It was as if someone had whispered into his head that, yes, of course Ace was Hongo. I had my suspicions from the beginning. Their voices were familiar, too familiar to be a coincidence, and could never forget his voice. It was the voice of the devil. I couldn't be sure, though. After all, I had no way to check. I certainly couldn't ask him. Even if I'd known, however, I'd never have told you. Hero made it quite clear that what would have happened if I did. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. Huh? I didn't know that Ace was Hongo. Oh, yes, I suppose you wouldn't have. 9 years ago, you were in Building Q in Nevada. But Hongo wasn't gigantic with us. No, that's why I didn't know what Hongo looked like. Well, why? Why didn't you tell me? I mean, I'm your sister, right? You could have told me. I'm sorry. I apologize for keeping this from you. But if I'd told you, Clover, you would have told everyone else. And if you did, then I would have been forced to tell them about what happened 9 years ago. I had to prevent that. Clover and Snake's conversation wasn't of particular interest to Junpei. He still couldn't make sense out of his strange feelings of knowledge. He was trying to organize his thoughts when he heard Seven's voice. Hey, Junpei, you think I could borrow that picture for a sec? He'd no reason to say no, so Junpei handed the picture over. Seven stared at the picture, began to mutter the 4 names of the project's leaders over and over to himself. Hongo, Kubota, Nijisaki, Musashido. His brow was furrowed, and his face was flushed. Hongo, Kubota, Nijisaki, Musashido. He chanted their names to himself, pacing back and forth across the floor. Hongo, Kubota, Nijisaki, Musashido. Seven shouldn't have known their names. After all, he hadn't been there when Junpei and Snake had spoken of them in the library. But as Junpei watched him pace, it was clear he did know them. Hey, Seven, do you... Shut it. Just be quiet. His eyes were red, and Junpei could see sweat beginning to bead on his forehead. I'm this close to remembering. This close! He was sweating heavily now, but his lips were dry. Hongo, Kubota, Nijisaki, Musashido. Cradle Pharmaceutical Nonary Project. And he stopped. Seven sat down the picture and looked at the red light near his feet. His eyes narrowed, then suddenly his eyes went wide and he shot up straight. Shit. What? What's wrong? Holy shit. This is nuts. What's nuts? I remember. Remember what? Everything. Everything? Yeah, I remember all of it. My memory's back. I remember what happened before I got snatched. Seven's voice was filled with excitement. Shock and excitement had frozen Junpei in place, along with Snake and Clover. Let me tell you what happened. Seven hastily drew a shaking hand across his mouth and began to speak. Like Snake said, Ace is Hongo. From the right, the other 3 are Musashido, Nijisaka, and Kubota. Musashido was the man with the cash, Nijisaka was Hongo's right-hand man, and Kubota developed the actual technical details of the experiments. Realization began to dawn on Junpei, along with a pressing question. How do you know all this? Come on, man. I've told you. I finally got my memory back. No, that's not what I meant. I'm trying to ask you why you knew all this stuff in the first place before you forgot it. Seven rubbed the scar on his chin. You really want to know? Of course. Me too. Snake was the only one who didn't voice any sort of agreement. Looked at Junpei as if he was simply waiting to see where Seven's sudden recovery might take them. This is going to take a while. Hell, it'll probably take me a good 3 days to tell you everything. We don't have 3 days. Just give us a short version, alright? Short version, huh? The big man pulled off his hat and scratched his head. He made a face and put his hat back on. Alright, fine. I'll give it a shot. No promises, though. Junpei and Clover nodded earnestly. Seven was a lone wolf detective who valued his own code over the rules, doing what was right over doing what you were told. That was why, on that fateful day, he'd gone with his gut and gone to the wharf at night on a slim lead. It was 9 years ago. The wharf had been dark and cold and foreboding. At the time, he'd been investigating a spate of kidnappings, all of them children. They'd all had one thing in common, a history of visits to one particular hospital. The hospital had been under the management of Cradle Pharmaceutical, and Seven's investigation had turned up evidence that Cradle had been involved in the kidnappings. After a little persuasion, he'd managed to finally get a real lead from someone inside Cradle Pharmaceutical. They'd told him that night, a ship was set to take the children from where they were being held to a large passenger liner docked offshore. Seven had, of course, gone to the wharf. Hidden in the shadows, he searched the harbor until at last he found the ship he was looking for. There were a number of human shapes moving near the ship. There were men in black suits. Many of them were carrying large bags. The bags, there was something about the way they moved as they were carried. There could be no mistake, there were human beings in those bags. He'd moved before he even realized he was going to. Out of the shadows he came, his gun already in his hand. He heard the words "don't move," but they weren't his. He felt metal touch the back of his head. "Drop your gun," came the cold voice from behind him. "I could kill you right now. It would mean nothing at all. I need only tie an anchor to your feet, and I doubt anyone will see you for perhaps a week or so." "Is that what you'd like? The fish here would be thankful for the meal." The words, he felt the cold metal thing behind him press against his skull. Slowly, Seven crouched down and laid his gun on the ground, and suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his neck. A needle. Was it some sort of drug? As he was thinking about that, Seven felt his face hit the cold concrete beneath him. Feel the chill of it seeping into him. Damn it. Shit, my head hurts. Seven woke to find himself lying on a hard floor. He twisted his neck to peer around the room. Where am I? There was a small, shabby bed and a dirty sink. A toilet with no stall or privacy of any sort. As a cop, it was a place Seven had seen all too often. I'm in a cell, huh? Opposite the toilet was a door set into the wall. Seven struggled to his feet and hobbled toward it. He gave the door a good shove, then another, and tried pulling it. It didn't open. Well, that was about what he'd expected. It wasn't likely that someone would put him in a cell only to leave it unlocked. He threw himself against the door a few times, but to no avail. I knew it. Seven grumbled to himself as he moved back toward the bed. He sat down. He sat there for a very long time. Just how long, he wasn't sure. At last he began to nod off, and had nearly fallen asleep when he was roused by a distant voice. There. Over. It's 9. The voice was far away, very far away. Seven couldn't understand what it was saying. Nonetheless, it was a voice, and a high one, most likely a child. His eyes shot open. Bang. As he listened, he could pick out several different distinct voices. There were at least 5 or 6, possibly more. Where were the voices coming from? He looked around the room frantically. Perhaps the door? No, that wasn't it. What? Oh, ow. Was it coming from the left? Was it coming from under the bed? Grabbed the bed and flipped it up with ease. There it was. There was a hole for ventilation in the wall where the bed had been, covered with a metal grate. Seven lay down on his stomach and peered through the grate. He couldn't see anything, it was too dark. Now that he'd found it, however, there could be no doubt this was the source of the voices. For a moment he was confused. Why were there children nearby? Then he remembered what the man from Cradle Pharmaceutical had told him. How a ship would take the kidnapped children from the wharf to a waiting passenger liner out in the ocean. Was Seven on that passenger liner? It didn't matter. What mattered was that he find a way to the children. Seven looked at the metal grate. Could he fit through that hole? He stuck his fingers through the grate and grabbed hold of it. Yeah, how'd you like that, you son of a bitch? The dark square sat open before him. Seven wiped the sweat from his forehead and crawled inside. The first section of the duct was small. Seven could do little more than wiggle along his belly. After a time, however, it got a little larger, and even someone as large as Seven was able to crawl along on his hands and knees. He felt like he'd grown from an inchworm to an insect. Not much of an improvement, but it was better than nothing. He'd begun to wonder where the duct would take him when... it falls out from under him? There was a thunderous sound, like a massive metal door slamming shut, and then he heard a voice. Warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Repeat. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. The voice wasn't harsh, but something about the calm with which it spoke made it even more terrifying. Seven wasn't sure what it meant, but incinerator certainly didn't sound good. Then, almost as if to confirm his suspicions, he heard a chorus of young voices. No, help me. Many of the voices were simply screaming in terror, mixing with one another to create a single horrifying howl. Damn it, what the hell's going on here? Seven began to crawl along the duct as fast as his arms and legs would carry him. The noise he made was tremendous, but he was long past caring. A few moments later, a metal door appeared on the left side of the duct. Seven could hear the screams of the children from the other side of it. This was it. He grabbed hold of the handle and threw the door open. The old metal gave way easily before his onslaught. What the hell is this place? The room he was looking out into had a dome for a ceiling and 9 equally sized walls. At the top of the dome was an upside-down funnel. It looked almost like a chimney. Then he looked down, and there they were, the children he had been looking for. They stared up at Seven, their cries silenced for the moment by surprise and fear. Whether they were scared of the room or him, Seven couldn't tell. It was certainly possible they were frightened of both. Not that I could blame him, running into a mug like this when they're already scared shitless. He permitted himself a short snort of a laugh, then turned to the children again. Don't worry, kids. I'm not your enemy. I'm one of the good guys. Not a single one of them moved. Or believed him. Except for one. He was a boy, slightly older than the others, in a private school uniform. Who the hell are you? As he spoke, he took a tentative step forward and gave Seven a suspicious look. I'm a detective. I'm here to rescue you. The moment the words were out of his mouth, he could see the children relax. How are you going to help us? The boy in the uniform asked. Where's the exit? Seven responded. There isn't one. The doors we came in through won't open, and the door over there... He cut himself off, considered something, and then continued. Anyway, there's no point. We can't all get out of here. If we don't get out of here, we're going to be burned to death. Burned to death. Can't you hear it? The voice said the incinerator's going to start up soon. The voice spoke again. Automatic incineration will take place in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. They only had 15 minutes. Seven looked back down at the children. It was a good 20 or 30 feet to the floor. There was no way he could pull the children up. That was when he had an idea. Wait right there. I'm going to be right back. What? Where's he going? Are you just going to leave us here? Seven did his best to smile what he felt was a reassuring smile. Don't worry, alright. Be back, I promise. So just stay calm and wait right there, got it? He didn't wait to hear them respond. There was not time. He ran as fast as a man could run on his hands and knees. Before long, he was back in his cell. He was back where he'd started, but he had a plan. There was something there that he needed. As soon as he finished, he dove back into the duct and took off toward the incinerator. It was the bedsheets. Sorry to keep you waiting, guys. Leaning out of the door in the duct, Seven lowered the rope he brought to the floor of the incinerator. Back in the cell, he'd torn the bed sheets into strips and tied them together to make a rope. Like Seven himself, it wasn't very attractive, but it got the job done. Alright, just tie that around yourself, okay? We'll pull you up one at a time. Right. Huh? Wait a second. That was when he noticed there were more of you before. Where'd the rest of you go? The boy in the uniform answered. I let them go on ahead. We opened the number 9 door, and they left. What? You're telling me you opened that door? That's what I said. And what the hell are you doing here? We couldn't go with them. Why not? Look, the only people that can go through the numbered door. Automatic incineration will take place in 5 minutes. The voice reverberated against the walls of the room. Look, that can wait, all right. Just get us out of here. Right. Seven grabbed hold of the rope. First up was a girl with a ponytail. Next was a girl with a red necklace, or with a red necktie, followed by a boy in a jacket who said he'd climb up on his own. The last up was the boy in the uniform. Like the boy in the jacket, he climbed up the rope himself. He looked scrawny from above, but his looks belied impressive strength. He scaled the rope quickly, but as he was almost to 7, they heard the sound of someone knocking. All eyes turned toward the door. Cut into it was a thick, square window. On the other side, they could see a furious face. God damn it, what's going on here? Why is the room empty? Where the hell are those fucking kids? Oh, that is a big time emulation error. The door opened and a man stepped in, looking half mad with fury. Seven recognized his face. He'd seen him many times in photos during the investigation. The man's name, Shintaro Hongo. Actually, I suppose based off the way I'm pronouncing Shintaro, I should probably say Hongo. The CEO of Cradle Pharmaceutical. Hongo saw the boy hanging from the rope. He roared like an animal and lunged for the rope. Hurry. I know. The boy in the uniform resumed his scramble up the rope. You son of a bitch. Get back here, you little shit. He was 15 feet away. 10. The moment he came within arm's reach, Seven grabbed the boy in the uniform. The jerk, he tossed him into the duct behind him. No! Hongo had lost any semblance of control. His face no longer looked human. It was twisted into something terrifying. The visage of a devil, a ferocious monster. Seven quickly reeled in his rope, leaving a ferocious Hongo on the floor of the room, and crawled back into the duct. You fucking bastard, you won't get away with this. How dare you compromise this experiment? What experiment? Seven wondered. Automatic incineration will take place in 1 minute. Hey old man, what the hell are you doing? Hurry up. It was the boy in the uniform. Seven tossed Hongo a taunting salute and pulled the door closed. There was no point to going back to Seven's cell, so they continued down the duct in the other direction. After 30 feet or so, another duct met theirs, heading down. They nodded at one another and turned and slid down the duct. A short time later, they crawled out of the duct to find themselves in a narrow hallway. There was a door on each side of it. The one on the left was a normal double door, but the one on the right was a familiar thick metal door, black and yellow stripes, and a device next to it on the wall. On the door was a plate that read Incinerator. Then that's where we were? Yeah. Hongo might still be there. It looks like it's been shut off though. Wait, what? If he's still in there? Yeah, that's not good. Seven grunted. Fine, the other door. Go into the other door. Hurry. Children began to run, with Seven following close behind them. On the other side of the door was a large spiral staircase. Run, Seven shouted. Didn't need to be told twice. Up and up they went. Their feet pounded against the steps and their arms churned the air. Round and round and round they went, like a human tornado. The stairway kept going. They passed a couple rooms that looked to be dance halls when the boy in the uniform spoke. Something's up. Akane's not catching up to us. Akane? My kid's sister. The girl with the red necktie. Akane? That was strange. Seven didn't remember seeing that name in the list of children who'd gone missing. Hey, Akane. He cupped his hands around his mouth and yelled. There was no response. Maybe we outran her. Suddenly the boy in the uniform stopped short. 7 stopped too, as did the boy in the jacket and the ponytailed girl. When did we do that? Well, we passed a couple big rooms on the way here. Maybe she took a rest in one of them. No, that's impossible. Sorry, Grandpa. You keep going. I gotta go look for her downstairs. He turned to go. Hey, kid, wait. God damn it, I said wait. The boy didn't even seem to hear him. Fuck. 7 spun around and yelled at the boy in the jacket and the girl with the ponytail. I'm going after him. You two keep going, alright? You got it? The girl nodded and began to run up the stairs. The boy, however, I'm going with you. 7 didn't have time to argue. Instead, he simply nodded and took off down the stairs. The boy in the jacket followed. They ran all the way to the bottom floor, calling for her. Akane was nowhere to be found. God damn it, where the hell did she go? The boy in the uniform couldn't hide his frustration. Help me, somebody, help me. It was a girl's voice. Akane. The boy in the uniform threw open the door and leapt into the hallway that faced the incinerator. 7 and the boy in the jacket followed. 7 couldn't believe what he saw. Hongud grabbed Akane by the arm and was doing his utmost to force her into the incinerator. Come on, goddammit, move. No, I don't want to. Let me go. Please, let go of me. She'd planted her feet squarely on the floor and was doing her best to get away, but Hongud was much larger than she was. She wasn't going to win. Akane, the boy in the uniform shouted. He roared with anger and charged towards Hongud. Came back. Ah, you're too late, idiot. Hongud lifted Akane bodily from her feet and threw her, struggling, into the incinerator. Before 7 or the boy in the uniform could react, Hongud leaped through the door after her. He saw him land inside. Oh, that does not sound good. And then the door slammed shut with the finality of a great steel guillotine. The 3 of them ran to the door. They pulled and strained, trying desperately to get it to open. Fuck, it's no use. The goddamn thing won't move an inch. The boy in uniform cried out and began to slam his fists against the door. He hit it with such force, 7 feared his knuckles would shatter from the impact. Akane, Akane, are you okay? Help me. Her voice was muffled by the door, but the sheer terror in it was unmistakable. What should I do? I think I'm trapped in here. Where's Hongud? He went out the other door. What? Warning, warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Repeat. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Are you fucking kidding me? 7 was at a loss. It's the same damn thing. Are you there? Akane's voice... God damn it, I didn't mean to click that. Akane's voice sounded close to tears. Yeah, we're here. Just hang on, alright? We're gonna find a way out here. We're gonna figure out a way to save you. If she could have seen the bloodless face of the boy in the uniform, his words would have seemed little more than a sick joke. Automatic incineration will take place in 17 minutes. Please, please help me. I'm really, really scared. I don't want to die. Please, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. It's gonna be alright. I'll figure something out. I promise. I promise, okay? You hear me? I promise. They could hear her muffled sobs from the other side of the door. The boy in the uniform tightened his fist. His knuckles were a bloodless white. 7 could tell he was holding back tears of his own. It was silent. All they could hear was the creaking of the boat as it shifted in the water. They waited, and waited, but 7 didn't continue. What happened then? Junpei couldn't wait any longer. He had to know. Partially because he was the only one who didn't already know the end of this story. 7 looked at the floor. Come on, man, put yourself in my shoes. It doesn't end good. You think I want to remember that? Then, yeah. Shit, if I'd known it was going to be like this, I almost wish I hadn't remembered. Seven shook his head, but there was something Junpei had to know. Hey, are you sure? Huh? Look, I don't want to ask this either, but there's something I don't get. So if you could just tell me, did that girl Akane really... Seven stared ahead at nothing. Yeah, I'm sure. There wasn't anything we could do. After a while, the countdown ended, and we heard something burning. Even after the fire stopped, they couldn't move. Seven and the boy in the jacket simply stood where they were, frozen. The boy in the uniform collapsed, falling to the floor in a jumble of limbs like a puppet whose strings had been cut. A few more minutes passed. The door opened. The boy in the uniform ran in, stumbling over his own feet. Seven and the boy in the jacket followed, still too numb to speak. The air in the incinerator was hot. Every breath made Seven's lungs feel like they were on fire. The air shimmered with heat. And in the middle of the room, beneath the waves of heat, there it lay. The boy in the uniform walked towards it, his legs shaking violently. Seven couldn't see his face, but his body looked somehow empty. Finally he reached it. The boy collapsed to his knees, his legs no longer able to support him. Junpei felt a cold lump form in the pit of his stomach. A feeling of sickening anticipation washed over him. He could feel his body shivering. He desperately did not want to know the answer he feared he knew already, but he had to ask. He had to know for sure. Can I ask you one more thing? What? The girl, Akane. What was her last name? What does it matter to you? Just tell me, okay? Please. Seven looked at Junpei curiously, and ran his tongue quickly over his dry lips. Kurashiki. Her name was Akane Kurashiki. Something inside of Junpei stopped. He had no more words left. He had no more Junpei left. He was just a shell of flesh and bone. Seven turned to Snake. You were there that day, weren't you? The tall kid in the jacket? That was you, wasn't it? Yes, I was. You are correct, Detective. Whoops. Junpei's mind was blank, withdrawn from the world. Somewhere far away, he could hear Seven and Snake talking. Don't misunderstand me. I told you before how Zero threatened me. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't say anything about what happened 9 years ago. But you're saying you're not working for Zero, right? Of course not. Clover? What about you? Hey, come on. You really think I'm working with Zero? I told you before, you idiot. I was in Nevada, in Building Q. I did hear that a detective rescued the kids on the boat, but I didn't know it was you. Her surprise seemed to be genuine. Seven regarded Clover for a moment, and rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Well, I guess I believe you. Clover nodded. Alright, let me ask you another question. He stuck his hands into his pockets and took a few steps. Then he stopped and turned to face them again. Santa's real name, Zaoi Kurashiki. He's Akane's brother. You know that? No, I didn't. Did you? Well, yes, I know Aoi Kurashiki was her brother. But I didn't know he was Santa, at least not from the beginning. 9 years ago, he was in the middle of puberty. His voice is entirely different now. I'm ashamed to say that even my exceptional hearing wasn't able to make that connection. As such, I had no reason to think that Santa was Aoi. When did you figure it out? A short time ago. Clover told me that Santa might have been one of the subjects of the initial experiment. And she told me that I had a feeling. Santa's Aoi? Akane Kurashiki, June's brother? That spark caught flame in Junpei's leaden mind, and the fog began to clear. Like an engine beginning to turn, images and thoughts began to coalesce in his mind, coming faster and faster, forming bigger images, bigger thoughts. Junpei blinked. He was back. There's still a lot we don't know. I mean, like, a lot. But there is one thing I think we can say we know. What's that? The body we found in the shower room had to be Nijisaki, dressed up to look like Snake. What? Come on, man. What kind of a detective are you? You didn't figure that out already? Hey, go easy on me, man. I just got my memory back, alright? Cut me some slack. Well, if he is, the 3 murders make sense then, don't they? Yeah, that's right, murder. Kubota blew himself up, but that was murder too. So why did these murders take place? If Junpei is correct and the body in the shower room was Nijisaki's, then that means all of the people who were involved, or all of the people who were murdered were involved with the creation of the Nonary Project. Kubota, the person who conducted the actual experiments, Nijisaki, Hongo's assistant, Musashido, the man who financed the project. You mean this was all just revenge? Santa's Zero? He's getting revenge for the death of his sister? No, I don't think Santa actually murdered anyone. In fact, Junpei didn't think he knew. He couldn't explain why or how, but he had no doubt that Santa had killed no one. Perhaps the madness of the last several hours was finally driving him insane, but Junpei had ceased to be surprised at his sudden knowledge and even begun to accept it. If I'm right, then it's not hard to figure out who the next victim's gonna be, is it? I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell you. Snake, Clover, and Seven all nodded. The next target will be Jintaro Hongu, the person who planned the Nonary Project. In other words, Ace. There was a moment of silence. And then the room shook. From far away, they heard the sudden rush of water. Whoa, what the hell's going on here? It must be 6 a.m. Our time's up. Shit. Come on, we need to get out of here. How? In the drawer that held the picture was a key card. Junpei grabbed it. I'm betting this sucker opens the exit. Come on, let's go. New material has been added to the file screen. Key card 0. Oh, it's opposite side. Alright, so let's just swipe this card. Junpei, look. It's unlocked. Yeah, now we can go back to the library. Hurry up, Junpei. We don't have time. Let's go. Alright, let's go. I really wish I knew that why those sounds were busted in this version of the emulator. It might be some other setting I have on the emulator that's busting it. The door opened and they stumbled into the library. Shaking had stopped, but they knew the danger hadn't passed. They ran across the hallway straight for the large metal door. Next to the door was the earnest card reader. They slid the keycard through, and the door rumbled open. Out of the library and into the hallway they ran. At the end of the hallway was a door. Junpei reached into his pocket to pull out the key as he ran toward it. The key he put into the lock was the Neptune key. He turned it. The lock clicked. As one, they shoved the door open and poured through it. Welcome to the incinerator. In front of them was another great metal door. Above it was a metal plaque. It read, "Caution, incinerator." So this is the incinerator. This is the first time I've seen it from this side, but yeah, I think so. And there ought to be a lever near the door. Yeah, right here. Junpei ran up to it. Pull that, and the door should open. Got it. As he spoke, he pulled the lever. Man, that sounds bad. The motor in the door groaned as it slowly ground open. And if you're listening to my version, it's grinding way worse. There was no time to waste. As soon as the door had opened far enough to admit them, all four dashed through. Then suddenly, there before them, were the four who they'd parted from earlier. Ace and Lotus stood in front of the number 9 door. Santa was curled into a ball against the wall of the incinerator, holding his stomach. And then there was June. He sat slumped against the wall, exhausted. What had happened? Junpei ran toward June, skidded to a stop in front of her, and knelt down. What's wrong? Are you okay? Her face was pale and her lips dry. When she spoke, he could barely hear her. Jumpy, you came to get me. Of course I did. I made a promise. I'm so glad you're here. So glad. He mumbled the same words over and over, weakly. Junpei could feel his heart breaking. Hey, what happened to you? I'm fine. I just fainted. I wasn't feeling very good. I'm feeling a lot better now, though. Are you sure? Yes. I just need to rest a little longer. I'm sure I'll be fine. You shouldn't worry about me. He was looking towards Santa. Junpei turned to look as well. Santa grimaced, his face contorted in pain. Seven grabbed him by the collar and roared at him. Hey, where is it? Where's the gun? You hide it somewhere? Despite himself, a grunt of pain escaped Santa's lips as Seven shook him. I don't have it. I got sucker punched, and they took the gun. What? Who took it? What? Isn't that obvious? I took the gun. Ace. He did indeed have the revolver in his hand. It was pressed against Lotus's temple. Ace had her pinned to him with the other arm, and she was shaking visibly. Her fiery attitude was gone, replaced by fear. She didn't dare speak. There was sweat on her forehead, and when her eyes weren't flicking up to the gun pressed against her, they seemed to desperately want to say something. Just what the hell do you think you're doing, Ace? Or maybe I ought to say Gentaro Hongu, CEO of Cradle Pharmaceutical. Seven's deep baritone rumble shook the walls. He sneered. You have me at a disadvantage, and I don't like that. You know me, but I don't know you. Do you have any idea how much I've suffered? Can you even begin to understand my pain? The pain of prosopagnosia, right? Junpei's voice was casual, or at least it was trying to be. Another irritating insect. And how do you know that, Junpei couldn't say, he just knew. Another unexplainable mystery. No matter, if you don't want to answer, it makes no difference to me. This is a waste of time anyway. Time for me to go. Behind Ace, Junpei could see the red. It was placed in the small indentation on the wall. I guess it's the thing off to the left of the... only sort of visible on screen, but it's visible enough to make me think that's not actually it. Quickly, Ace placed his hand on the scanner. It beeped and he forced Lotus's hand onto it as well. Then at last, he reached into the pocket of his jacket. He pulled something out and pressed it against the panel. Third asterisk appeared on the red. The thing he had used for the final verification was a bracelet with the number 9. It belonged to the first man to die, Bota. I believe I've won this game. His smirk made Junpei's blood boil. I've had quite a time playing with you. I must thank Zero, I suppose. Wait, something about the way he'd spoken. Did Ace not know who Zero was? Junpei's eyes flicked towards Santa. He hadn't moved since they'd entered the room. Santa was still holding his stomach and groaning as if in immense pain. Junpei wasn't sure if it was real pain, but he wasn't sure it wasn't either. What the hell did Santa have up his sleeve this time? At any rate, the game ends now. I will escape, and the rest of you will have a slightly less pleasant ending. I suggest you enjoy your final moments. Goodbye. Wait. Ace, of course, paid no heed to Seven's request, and laid hold of the lever on the red. With a sickening sense of finality, he pulled it. What? What? Why isn't it opening? Lotus tried to take advantage of Ace's confusion and managed to twist herself out of his grasp, but at the last second he grabbed hold of her wrist and shoved it onto the red. He waved the number 9 bracelet over the red and then his own bracelet as well. He pulled the lever a second time. No, what is this? Why? The digital root should be 9. It has to be 9. Then why isn't it opening? Ace's fury and confusion had overwritten all other thoughts. He had set down the revolver. It was just below the red. 7 chose that moment to act. He moved far faster than a man of his bulk should have been able to, and he launched that bulk straight at Ace. That's a nice meaty thwack there. It was over before they knew it. In the blink of an eye, Ace was on the floor. He rolled onto his side, groaning in pain. Lotus ran straight for Junpei. She darted around behind him, stuck her head out, making sure to keep Junpei between herself and Ace. That was close. Too close. Thank you, 7. Don't mention it. 7 stood over Ace, his breathing slow and heavy. Just one punch ain't enough for this piece of shit. After what he did 9 years ago, I ought to rip him to pieces, but if a suspect can't talk, they ain't much good. Once he's locked up in a cell, we're gonna have a little chat. 9 years ago? Ah, then you must be... Yeah, you finally figured it out, dumbass. Ace planted his hands on the floor and shook his head. Junpei walked toward him. He stopped and looked down at Ace, with pity on his face. Ace, you killed Kubota, Nijisaki, and Musashido, didn't you? Wait, Nijisaki? He peered at Junpei, genuinely concerned. Oh, right. Don't know yet. Alright, we'll just go through them in order then. Let's start off with Kubota. Talked to Kubota and managed to convince him to go into door 5 alone. You killed him without making it look like you killed him. The way I figure it, you had 4 motives. In the nonary game, the number 9 was very dangerous. Whoever had the number 9 bracelet could join whatever team they wanted. You could add 9 to any number, and the digital root doesn't change. In other words, number 9 can do whatever they want. Ace had wanted to remove that threat as soon as possible. Ace also wanted to have the number 9 bracelet himself, so that he could make use of its power. In fact, he later made use of it in the murder of Nijisaki. Even if his number had been different, Kubota presented a problem for Ace. Kubota had known Ace's past. He knew what had happened 9 years before. Before he told anyone, Ace had to silence him. Or, but last and perhaps most disturbing, Ace had used Kubota as a test. He wanted to know how serious this nonary game was. Was it truly life or death, or simply a harmless prank? He convinced Kubota to break the rules so that he might see what happened. That was why you killed Kubota. He was only the first. Next was Nijisaki. While everyone was off looking for the missing part of for the red, you ran into Nijisaki near the big hospital room. However, because of your prosopagnosia, you didn't realize he was Nijisaki. Chiefly because when you met him, he was dressed like Snake. That was why you thought Nijisaki was Snake. No, that's not... That was Nijisaki? Why, how did you get to that? Anyway, you thought he was Snake. Snake was one of the kids in your experiment 9 years ago. You remembered him because he was the blind kid. But his presence made you think. Snake was one of my subjects 9 years ago. He probably hates me, but if that's true, why isn't he saying anything? Is he keeping quiet because he can't see? Or because he's working... Or perhaps he's working with Zero to get revenge on me? Whatever the reason, anyone who knows my past is a threat. Before he tries anything, I need to get rid of him. That was when you decided you had to kill him. The murder weapon was Kubota's bracelet. You just waved it over the red, verified your own number, grabbed Nijisaki's arm, and forced it over the scanner panel. Then when the door opened, you kicked him in. 9 seconds later, the door closed. And then 81 seconds passed, and poor Nijisaki dead. Then you mean to say Snake is still alive? Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm good as new. Thank you for killing the wrong man, but I can't say I like knowing that you wanted me dead. Although to be honest, even if you hadn't tried to kill me, I'd still hate you very much. Well, I wouldn't blame you. Ace's self-derision was frustrating, but Junpei kept his emotions in check and continued. Last but not least, let's talk about Musashido's death. When Clover and I were investigating the chart room, you came over to talk to me. Do you remember what you said? Oh, a pocket watch. Might I take a look at it? I handed you the pocket watch and you left the room. Ace had been in charge of the Nonary project. He would of course have known the solution to every puzzle. It followed then that he knew how to get out of the wheelhouse. All Ace had to do was place the pocket watch in the indentation of the door to unlock it. With the door open, he was able to enter the captain's quarters. Musashido was there, and next to him was an axe that fairly begged Ace to kill Musashido with it. He picked up the axe and swung it, burying the blade deep in the other man's chest. One blow was all it took. Afterwards, Ace returned to the chart room as though nothing had happened. There was something I wanted to speak with you about, Junpei. Could you come with me for a moment? With no reason not to, Junpei had followed Ace to the wheelhouse. When they reached the wheelhouse, Ace slipped his hands into Junpei's vest, pulled out a piece of paper. A piece of paper Junpei had used to cheat during the vote. But it wasn't the piece of paper that Ace was after. His true purpose had been to slip the pocket watch into Junpei's pocket. It wasn't a very good plan, it had far too many flaws, and the wrong word of discovery could easily have toppled it. What had made Ace so desperate? That was the only thing Junpei hadn't been able to figure out. Musashido's murder is the only one I don't understand. You obviously did it. But why? Because of this. Slowly, Ace reached down and pulled something out of his pocket. It was a folded piece of paper. Junpei took it and opened it. This is what it had said. Number 1. There are 2 ways you might survive this ordeal. The first is to win the Nonary game. The second is for you to confess your sins of 9 years past. I've prepared a camera in the captain's quarters. The images captured by that camera will be streamed through a satellite and distributed across the world. Simply look into the camera and repent. Once you have confessed everything, I will release you from the ship. To make your confession more credible, I have left you a witness in the captain's quarters. Perhaps he will confess with you. The decision is yours. Do as you please. 0. When I woke in that room on D-Deck, I found that in my pocket. That was why I chose door 1 when we voted. If I went through that door, I knew I could get to the captain's quarters. As you said, I knew how to enter the wheelhouse. My plan was to find the pocket watch before anyone else. If I could, then my alibi would be set. At least that was the plan. Unfortunately for me, you got to it first. That sleight of hand was the best I could manage on short notice. I meant to kill him from the beginning then. Musashido, I mean. I only knew Musashido was the witness after I reached the captain's quarters. I asked him, and he answered. He seemed groggy. Perhaps he'd only just awoken from sedation. I suppose Nijisaki was in much the same state. He seemed confused and disoriented when I encountered him. But yes, you are correct. I intended to kill him from the beginning, even though I didn't know who he was. I proceeded to the captain's quarters in order to remove this so-called witness. Ace had confessed everything. What energy he had left him with the truth, and he sagged on his knees. Though he had confessed, his sins were not forgiven. Junpei felt revulsion for the pathetic man on the floor near his feet. But in among the revulsion was a hint of pity. After all, Ace had not been the only person who murdered those 3 men. Junpei spoke quietly. Ace, you figured it out, haven't you? You were being manipulated. Yes, so it would seem. I was little more than a puppet in many ways. Everywhere I went, everything was already prepared. The Reds in the large hospital room were dismantled. Nijisaki was dressed like Snake. There was an axe in the captain's quarters. Musashido was delirious from the anesthetic, so he couldn't fight back. Nijisaki as well. In retrospect, I can't understand how I could have fallen into such a simple trap. I'm quite ashamed of myself. But yes, this was a trap. It was Zero's trap, and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I did everything he wanted me to do. Yeah. By manipulating Ace, Zero was able to kill 3 people and keep the blood off his own hands. All of this was revenge for what happened 9 years ago. That's why this nonary game happened. Am I right, Santa? Junpei looked over at Santa. As Junpei spoke, he stood up, his legs still shaky. Huh? What the hell are you talking about? I don't know any... Ain't no point trying to play dumb anymore, Santa. Actually, I guess I should call you Aoi Kurashiki, huh? Kevin's face was sad as he spoke. My memory came back, kid. You're Aoi Kurashiki, no doubt about it. Never thought I'd be back in this room, talking to you. But hey, I guess this was all part of your plan, right? After all, the person who planned the nonary game this time around was Zero, and Zero's you. Looks like you really do have your memories back, huh? Santa's smile was sarcastic and something else. Well, I guess there's no point in hiding it then, huh? Yeah, you got me. I'm Aoi Kurashiki. I was one of the kids in the nonary game 9 years ago. I made it out, so did Snake over there. But there's one thing. No, I guess there's 2 things you got wrong. Number 1, I ain't Zero. What? Wait, what? Sure, I was helping Zero out, but I'm really more of an assistant. Like a secretary. An assistant's only an assistant. I didn't come up with all of this. All I did was follow Zero's orders. Then if you're not Zero, who is? Well, calm down there, Junpei. Didn't I say 2 things? You made one more mistake. Junpei, you just said all of this was revenge for what happened 9 years ago. That's why this nonary game happened. But that's not it. Revenge isn't the only purpose. There's another reason you guys are playing the nonary game. To save someone. Save someone? Right. You were brought here to help my sister. To save Akane. What the hell are you talking about? Akane Kurashiki died 9 years ago in this room. I was there. I saw. Suddenly, Seven froze. His eyes went as wide as dinner plates, and he spun around towards June. Junpei followed his gaze. She was gone. Where June had been, there was nothing. What the hell? Where is she? Where's Akane Kurashiki? Seven began to mumble to himself. A strange series of words strung together as if his mind wasn't functioning properly. His face was twisted with effort, as though he were struggling with something they couldn't see. He gritted his teeth and pressed his hands against the side of his head. My head. My head. Feels like it's gonna pop. He groaned and fell to his knees. Seven. What the hell's going on? I don't know. I swear to God, my head feels like it's about to explode. From somewhere far away, they all heard a deep, heavy noise. It sounded like a tremendous wheel slowly beginning to turn. Santa seemed to have entered an almost trance-like state. His words were calm and measured. What was the nonary project? I'm sure you know already, but I'll tell you one more time. It was a project designed to test a particular phenomenon. And what was that phenomena? For 2 organisms to communicate with one another in the absence of physical contact. Morphogenetic field theory. Could human beings use these invisible fields to exchange information? That was what this experiment was conducted to determine. There were two separate locations. One was the Gigantic, and the other one was a building in Nevada called Building Q. Building Q had been built to replicate exactly the interior of the Gigantic. The 9 children trapped in Building Q were faced with numerous puzzles, copies of identical ones on the Gigantic. They were told to send their answers into the morphic field set and transmit them to their brothers and sisters on the Gigantic. Transmitters were put in Building Q and the receivers were put in the Gigantic. Each sibling pair was supposed to be split up, but there was a mistake. Anne was a transmitter. She should have been in Building Q. However, for some reason she was placed on the Gigantic with the receivers like me. Perhaps she was mistaken for someone who was supposed to be in Group A. Whatever the case, Anne ended up on the Gigantic. I think I've told you enough. You get it, don't you? I'm pretty sure you know where this is going, Junpei. Where what is going? Don't play dumb. You know things you shouldn't, things you couldn't. How did you know Ace had prosopagnosia? How did you know why Ace wanted to kill Kubota, and how Nijisaki was killed? Were you surprised when you found out that Ace was Hongu? What about the coffin Snake was trapped in? How the hell did you open it? Well, the answer to that's easy. He knew because I knew. Junpei was receiving information that I sent to him through the morphic field set. Simple, really. How do I know the alternate futures, then? Imagine a river that splits in two, like an upside-down Y. The river flows from the top to the bottom, from a single stream into two branches. It only flows in one direction, it can never flow backward. Information's the same way, it moves from the past to the future, but never flows backward. Why people at the river's source in the past will never know about those downstream in the future. But the people downstream will never know about one another either. Information only flows along the path of the river. But I'm different. I can manipulate the morphic field said to pluck knowledge from the future. I know what happens on either fork of the river, even though the people on either fork know nothing about one another. Now, who am I? I am I, ninth letter of the alphabet, but I'm also 0. No, that's not true. I'm not really 0, not yet. Perhaps you could say I'm less than 0. 0 is my future. In 9 years, I will be 0. Where did she go? June? No, Akane? Where did you go? Santa. Why is Clover? Oh, shit. Freeze. Santa's got the gun. Guess he picked it up when we weren't watching. Looks like he's turned the tables on Ace, though. Wonder how he likes having a gun to his head. Get up. Sure isn't about to take that gun off him for a minute, is he? Ace isn't putting up any kind of fight. I mean, I don't think I would either, but he just looks drained. I guess he's going for the door, huh? He doesn't need to verify to go through that door, but... What's your plan, Santa? What are you doing? He can't get through any numbered doors with just 2 people. What the hell is he thinking? Didn't I tell you? I'm Santa Claus. Time for me to go make a wish come true. That's it? That's all he's gonna give us? What the hell does that even mean? Shit, they're out. And now the gate's shut. Looks like the rest of us are stuck in here. They're all looking back at me. At least Seven's headache is gone. He seems to be alright. I guess there's no harm in trying. Let's see if this door still opens. Damn, well, it looks like this door isn't opening anytime soon. You mean we're trapped? So it would seem. What the hell is Santa trying to do? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what? Have you considered where we are? There can really only be one thing Santa would do now. No, you can't be serious. Oh, but he is. Shit. We've got to do something. Maybe we can still get out through door 9. There's the red. Yeah, alright, we can do this. I've just got... No, it's not going to work. There's no way. The 5 of us can't open this door. 26, 2, 6, 8. Is there any combination that'll work? Junpei, can I borrow your pen and notebook? Sure, why not? I don't think I'm going to need them ever again. Well, she certainly looks purposeful. Like she's writing equations. A lot of them. She does not look very happy. What? Hey, no need to be ripping pages out like that. Jeez. The hell are you doing, Clover? Give me that. Alright, at least 7 got it away from her. Maybe now I can look at what she was writing. Let's see. Shit. Then there's no other way. Lotus. Looks like she figured it out, though. Man, this is just too cruel. Okay, go. Lotus. Come on, you know we can't do that. Oh, don't give me that. I'm sure you'd love to get rid of me. God damn it, you idiot. Whoa, where the hell did that come from? Looks like she expected that about as much as I did. Without, if you're not... Look, it'd be bad, alright. For Cop, he sure doesn't have much confidence. Bad? Yeah, if there weren't assholes like you around, I'd be out of a job. Huh? Look, I'm just not leaving you behind, alright? End of story. 7. He's right, I'm not leaving you either. Me either. You don't honestly think I'd abandon you, did you? You're all idiots. Act as tough as you want, Lotus. We can all see you're about to cry. That being said, however, I doubt we would be able to open the door anyway, even if we were to leave Lotus behind. Huh? Why? I trust you remember what happened to Ace. I couldn't see exactly what happened, but I was able to guess what he was attempting to do earlier, the red. Oh, yeah. No, what is this? Why? The digital root should be 9. It has to be 9. Then why isn't it opening? Is it X? I mean, just to see, why don't we give it a shot? Give it a shot? Yes, that is what I said. Also, one of these times when Snake's speaking, I'm actually going to pause and take a look at that dumb robe of his. You were right. It ain't opening. But it did open 9 years ago. The digital root was 9 then, I'm sure of it. You think maybe they changed the settings? Perhaps. Shit. If we can't get through the door, we can't get out. The walls are way too high, there's no way in hell we could get to that hole 7 popped out of 9 years ago. All we can do is stand here and stare at this door with a 9 on it. I guess this is it, this is the end. I was watching. I'd watched everything that was reflected in his eyes. I was listening. Every sound that vibrated in his eardrums I heard. Smell, taste, touch. I felt everything he felt. I knew. I knew everything about him. What he was thinking, what he was feeling, what he was sensing. All of his feelings and worries and fears became mine. My mind, my consciousness, was inside of him. Through the morphic field set, we were resonant, and we were as one. I was him, and at the same time, I was an observer. It started with a tremendous noise like a clap of thunder. That was approximately 9 hours ago. A bomb had gone off on the ship we were on. That was when my resonance with him began. My resonant event melted into him, and we became one inside of Junpei. Somehow I found myself in Junpei's mind 9 years in the future. But I didn't lose myself. I was living in 2 realities at once. One was the present, and the other was the future. Perhaps you can think of it as 2 movies showing on the same screen at the same time. Eventually it becomes difficult to separate them and determine which movie is which. However, if I concentrated, I was able to focus on one or the other. That was why I was able to grasp what was happening in front of me. Come on, over here. That was my brother, Aoi. He was screaming. I followed him. Around me were 7 other children. They all looked like they were about my age. Come on, hurry up. We ran down a long straight hallway and burst into the large hospital room. Everyone was arguing. Two of the boys got into a fist fight. The girl watching them began to cry. I want to go home, she cried. I want to go home. Another girl slapped the crying girl and glared down at her. It's been 2 hours since the non-art game began. We were starting to fall apart. But just when all hope seemed lost, Light started talking. He was blind. 9 years later, we'd call him Snake. Hello, everyone. Yes, could you come over here for a moment? He was older than most of us, and his voice had authority and dignity. The fights died down, and we gathered around him. I have a little sister. She's very important to me. Right now, she's over in Building Q and is desperately trying to send information over to me. Her name is Clover, and today is her 9th birthday. As he spoke, he pulled something from his pocket. In his hand were 9 four-leaf clovers. I was going to give these to her as a birthday present. I was outside picking them when I was abducted. I'm sure I've already told you, but I am blind. For a man who can't see, collecting 9 of a very specific plant is, well, it's difficult. But my sister means a great deal to me, and I'd hoped that these would show her how much I cared for her. Since it's her 9th birthday, I thought 9 four-leaf clovers would be appropriate. Every one of you has a brother or sister in Building Q with Clover. For their sake, we have to survive. We have to get off the ship. Do you understand? If we're going to do that, there are 3 things you have to remember. We need trust and love, and we have to have faith in one another. We can take all of those to heart, and then I promise that good luck will come our way. Did you know that the leaves on the four-leaf clover mean faith, trust, love, and luck? Those words are leaf words. So if you believe what I have told you and you understand, then I want you each to have one of these. They're a promise between friends. He gave a clover to each of us. I took one too. Eventually he was left with only a single four-leaf clover. He had one last thing to say. Now don't ever forget, so long as you have that, we will always be connected. Do you understand? When he finished, the tension of only a few minutes before was gone. We were calm. After that, we ran around the ship for a while longer and opened several of the numbered doors until we finally found a door with the number 9 on it. In fact, there were 2 doors with 9 on them. We found them in the chapel. We split into 2 groups and walked through the doors. Man, I hate that noise. All of the FMV noises in this have been awful. Before long, we all found ourselves in a room with a ceiling that looked like an upside-down funnel. For some reason, this room had another number 9, but this time it was the only one. But if there was only one door, that meant only 5 people could escape. What are we going to do? There aren't any other doors. We began to panic. Then, as if things had not gotten bad enough already, warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Repeat. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. What? What's happening? What did that thing say? That didn't sound good. My brother Aoi swallowed hard and answered. I think it means this room is going to burn. Burn. The plaque on the door says incinerator, and that voice said that the incineration's about to start. Incinerate means to burn. No, help me. Abject terror filled the room. Everyone began to scream and cry. Every pair of eyes were filled with despair. Then, high up on the wall, a door opened and a man appeared. He was a huge, frightening mountain of a man, large as a bear. 9 years later, we'd call him Seven. Don't worry, kids. I'm not your enemy. I'm one of the good guys. I'm a detective. I'm here to rescue you. The rest happened just like Seven had said it did. The 4 of us who'd stayed behind were saved by Seven. We crawled through the vent, away from the incinerator, and slid down into the hall. We came out on the other side of door 9. On the wall opposite the door was a set of double doors. We went through those, began to run up the spiral stairs. As we ran, I led the way. Behind me were Nana, my brother Aoi, Snake, and Seven. The other children, the ones who'd gone through door 9 before us, were up ahead. I could hear them cheering each other on. We ran and ran and ran. We leapt across as many stairs as we could and kept running. The stairs spiraled upward like a tornado. Eventually I pulled ahead of the rest. Perhaps Nana had slowed them down. I didn't want to lose them, so I slowed down as well. I didn't stop, but I glanced over my shoulder from time to time to see if they'd caught up. That was when I realized, oh no, where is it? Did I drop Jumpy's present? I knew I'd had it with me when we passed through the vent, then had I dropped it as we slid out? I had to go back, I had to, but I knew I couldn't tell the others. They'd stop me, I was sure of that. I didn't stop to think, I simply moved. I ran to the central hall, the room that connected to all the other areas of the hall. Of course I skipped. I didn't actually read that last word of the ship. And hid in the shadows. Moments later I felt a run of wind as they ran past me, up the staircase. I waited until they were out of sight, and then I ran. I moved as quietly as I could, down and down and down. Finally I reached the bottom deck. I ran to the hallway and looked around frantically. There it is! It was just where I thought it would be, sitting under the opening of the vent. I ran over and snatched it from the floor, but as I ran back towards the stairs in freedom, the door to the incinerator opened, and a man stepped out. It was Hongu. Shintaro Hongu. 9 years later, we'd call him Ace. Ah, how wonderful to see you decided to come back. His smile made my blood run cold. It looked mechanical, as if someone had simply pulled up the corners of his mouth. Come with me. We must continue the experiment. I shook my head, eyes wide. Slowly I began to walk backwards. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. I spun around and broke into a run. I felt Hongu's hand close over my left wrist. I said, come with me. There was an edge of insanity to his voice now. I pulled as hard as I could. No, I don't want to. Let me go. Please, let go of me. I shook my body and flailed my arms, trying desperately to get Hongu to let go of me. But I was still only a child. I was no match for a man like Hongu. Stop struggling, damn it. Do as I tell you. He heaved on my arm, trying to pull me into the incinerator. I screamed, help me. Somebody help me. And suddenly, Akane. The door of the stairs flew open, and my brother Aoi burst out of it. Behind him were Seven and Snake. Akane, he cried my name again as he leapt toward Hongu. He came back, I cried out. Ah, you're too late, idiot. Hongu threw his full weight against my arm, pulling us both into the incinerator. The force of it threw me to the floor. I scrambled to my feet and looked toward the open number 9 door. Hongu stood between it and me, but behind him I could see my brother, his fists clenched. But those fists never reached Hongu. With the cold, heartless screech of metal on metal, the door slammed shut. Hongu glanced at me mechanically, his face registering that there was an object there, but not anything he would consider a human being. Then he turned away and walked to the red that sat next to the door. He reached out into his pocket and removed 2 bracelets. He waved them both over the scanner panel. 2 asterisks appeared on the red. He checked the screen, then tossed the bracelets carelessly onto the floor. What was he doing? What was the point? He made no effort to explain himself, of course. He said nothing at all. He walked past me as though I were nothing more than a rock by the roadside. A few moments later, double door slid shut as well. Faintly, I could hear someone pounding on the door behind me. I turned around and ran toward the door with a 9. Akane, are you okay? I could hear a voice from the other side of the door. A worried, frightened voice. Help me, my throat was already raw, but I screamed as loud as I could. My voice echoed lonely around the empty room. What should I do? I think I'm trapped in here. Where's Hongu? He went out the other door. What? And it started again. Warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Holy shit. Man, I knew what I was going to say, but that is one hell of a creepy voice. I knew it. Starting. Santa started the incinerator. Fuck. Man, I never thought I'd hear that damn voice again after 9 years. The hell? What the hell? What are you talking about? It's 9 years this and 9 years that, and when it's not 9 years something, then you're talking about some sort of fucking experiments. What in God's name are you talking about? You aren't making any sense. I'm sorry, Lotus, we really don't have the time to explain it right now. I promise I'll tell you everything once we get out of here, but... Automatic incineration will take place in 17 minutes. You know what that means, right? Incinerate means burn. What kind of an idiot do you think I am? I know what incinerate means. Well, god damn it. Okay, fine. I won't ask anything else. Talk about whatever you want. But you have to do something for me, Seven. Figure this out. What? Why me? Just shut up and stop this thing. How the hell? There has to be some sort of emergency shut-off button. There isn't anything like that. How the hell do you know? Because I looked for it 9 years ago. Yeah, Lotus isn't happy about that. Can't really blame her. Wait. The floor, it's moving. What else can I say about it but, what the hell is that? What else could I say but, what is that? Floor opened and a machine rose out of it. It looked like a computer, at least it kinda did. There was a monitor and keyboard and cross-shaped device of some kind. Something about this machine scared me, but I forced myself to walk up to it. I was terrified. Tears poured down my face. I wiped them off even as more took their place and forced myself forward. Finally, I reached it. I looked at the screen. It was blank. All I saw was my own frightened face staring back at me from the glass, drenched in tears. All I can see is a reflection of my own face. I'm looking kind of freaked out. I know I'm sweating like crazy, but seeing it kind of drives it home. Okay, Junpei. Just calm down, alright? Everything's gonna be okay. Man, I wish this thing would just shut up. Automatic incineration will take place in 15 minutes. Alright, back to this thing. If it's only showing up now, it's gotta be important. What the hell am I supposed to do with it? Hey, move. Hey, we're all tense, lady. That doesn't mean you get to shove people around. Okay, it's turned on. There's nothing on screen, though. This is bad. This is real bad. There's nothing on here. How are we supposed to do anything with it? Sure, just push buttons. I'm sure that'll... Well, at least it's on now. What's on screen, though? What is this? What the hell? Looks like some sort of puzzle. Yeah, it's Sudoku. Bunch of numbers scattered in a grid. Numbers range from 1 to 9. Think if we solve this puzzle, the incinerator will stop? Yeah, we can hope, right? Alright, puzzle. How do you work? Oh man, that goddamn voice again. Automatic incineration will take place in 13 minutes? Shit, 13 minutes? Can we really do this? Heart feels like it's gonna pop. Heart was pounding like it was about to explode. I stared at the puzzle on the screen. For sure I had to solve it somehow, but I had no idea how. Connection to Jumpy had been gone for a while. His mind was gone. I couldn't get any more information from him. I felt the seconds tick by as I stared at the screen, completely lost. My cheeks felt hot as tears poured over them. Then I heard a voice. Hey, what are you doing? It was muffled. I turned around. Pressed against the window in the entry door was a face. A frightening, evil face. Hongu. How long had he been watching me? I don't know what to do. He was yelling, but his voice was still muffled. It's simple, really, but I suppose I might as well tell you. Just solve the puzzle on that machine. Laughter was muffled by the door, but it still tore at my heart like the claws of a vicious monster. I bit my lip and glared at Hongu. He struggling to hold back hot tears. You're a terrible person. I hate you. Oh my, how could you call a gentleman such as myself a terrible person? That's not very nice. I'm quite fair. I don't use tricks or play dirty. You see, I've even left you a way out. A way out? Didn't you hear me? All you have to do is solve that puzzle. Do that and you can stop the incinerator. What's the point of stopping it? It'll only capture me and make me do this all over again. I'm not going to listen to you. If you're just going to throw me back in here, I might as well just die now. My goodness, haven't you listened to anything I've said? Told you I'm a fair man. You solve the puzzle, the verification of the red will in turn activate. If this experiment's to deliver valid results, there must be a chance of success. If you succeed, you will escape. The verification function of the red? Then I remembered. Before Hungud left the room, he'd scanned 2 bracelets into the red. Ah, so you do remember. Right now, there are 2 numbers in the red. The first is 1, and the second's 3. Hey, Akane, what's your number? I looked down at my left hand. The face on my bracelet showed a 5. I ran to the door with 9 on it. Grabbed the red and put my hand against the scanner panel. You really aren't one for listening, are you? I hear Hungud's muffled voice from across the room. I already told you, didn't I? Once you solve the puzzle, the verification of the red will activate. In other words, if you haven't solved the puzzle, you can't enter your number. What kind of a fool are you? Why are you doing this? You'll never understand. You don't know what it's like to spend every day surrounded by monkeys. Now start the experiment. Solve the puzzle. I can't. I don't know how. Of course you don't. Isn't that the point? You understand, don't you? Access the morphogenetic field and find the solution. I can't. And you'll die. You'll burn alive. It's going to be quite hot in there in a few minutes. Imagine it will be very painful. Horrible laugh echoed across the room, and even after his face disappeared from the window, I could hear it. Automatic incineration will take place in 10 minutes. I was crying, great gulping sobs broken by hiccups that shook my body. I was terrified. I could feel my fear pressing down on me like a tremendous weight. Somehow I forced my shaking legs to carry me back to the device. Stared at the empty monitor. I can't. There's no way. I can't figure this out. What was I gonna do? I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't even know where to start. Fear scattered my thoughts, and all I could think of was how I was going to die. My palms were sweating, and my blood was boiling in my veins. It was hot. So hot. I couldn't breathe. I felt dizzy. My heart roared in my chest, as if it would pound itself to pieces. I reached into my pocket. I wrapped my hand around the thing I'd come back to get. The doll Jumpy had given me. At least I had that. I held it tight with both hands and prayed. Help me, Jumpy. Help me. Help me. Help me. Jumpy. 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 Please. Help me. Jumpy. Akane. Akane? Who the hell is Akane? Shut up. Just shut the hell up. Seven and Lotus don't understand. I think Clover and Snake have an idea, though. Clover's looking at me. And I think Snake may have figured it out. It doesn't matter. They're in my way. Where'd she go? Maybe over here? Akane? Akane, can you hear me? Akane, say something. Fuck. Did something break our connection? I swear I just heard her. Shit. Akane, answer me. Akane. Jumpy? Spun around. Heard a voice. His voice. I looked around. He wasn't in the room, of course, but I'd heard it so clearly, like he was right there. Jumpy. I screamed as loud as I could. Immediately I heard him call back. Akane. Jumpy. That's her. She's there. Then that means... Akane, are you in an incinerator right now? Yes, I am. Oh, how did you know? Now I understand what Santa meant. Right, there's only one way to help her. You were brought here to help my sister. Save Akane. I think I get it now. Automatic Wasted 11 minutes. Jumpy, we don't have time. As quickly as I could, I told him that I had to solve the puzzle in order to stop the incinerator. Got it. And I do. I get everything now. At last, I finally understand what all of this means. I know why the nonary game was held today. I know why we were kidnapped and brought here. It was all for this moment. All of this was planned out to lead to this one moment. My God, this is insane. I can't believe it, but there's only one possible answer. June is, Zero is, Akane Kurashiki. She recreated the history of the future that she had a glimpse of 9 years ago. She tried to save herself that way 9 years ago. Oh wait, she's trying to save herself right now. That means that there's only one thing for me to do. Even if this is all some sort of insane plan, I will save her. I will save Akane Kurashiki. I must save her, no matter what, or else this game doesn't have an actual start. Automatic incineration will take place in 6 minutes. Jumpy? Yeah, I know. Just hang on, alright? I promise I'll get you out of there. Not gonna let you die. I promise. So don't worry, alright? Just give me a few minutes, okay? Okay. My voice shook as I answered. It was hot in the room. It felt like my heart was on fire. 6 minutes or not, my heart burned with my feelings for him. Alright, time to get to work, Junbei. The snake talking to them about something. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Get out of my way. Hey, what are you... So, it's been like 8 minutes since we've turned this on, and nobody has done anything meaningful. Real good. Just trust me, okay? Sorry, Lotus. Didn't mean to snap, but there's a lot more at stake here than your pride. I'll apologize later, alright? Now, let's have a look at this thing. We've got numbers all over this grid. Now, if I'm looking at this right, I'm going to need to fill in all the empty squares with other numbers from 1 to 9. And I'll be right back. I need to get a bit of water. Okay, so I'm going to need to fill in all the empty squares with other numbers from 1 to 9, but I can't use the same two numbers in any horizontal or vertical row. The same has to go for the 3x3 squares with thick lines around them. That means I need to put different numbers in the horizontal and vertical rows, as well as the 3x3 spaces. I think that's a rule here. Alright, it's Sudoku. I can do this on my own, with my own mind. I'm going to solve this problem. I don't actually know if this is timed. It would be neat if it were timed, but I don't think I would have solved it originally in the first place if it were actually timed. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah. It's upside down. So this, what's done up as the top screen. You had to flip your DS around. And I hate the entry system for this so much. So much. No. Oh, actually, yeah, based off what I have. Okay, so did actually get that first one down. Gradually filling these out makes this a lot easier. Well... okay, so... I am slow as shit at actually doing these. Which is why I was originally going to grab the answer here, because I know it's just static. Well, that answers that one. I hadn't noticed the 8 in the top middle one. Which means that has to be 8. Ah, the 2 here are 1 and 4, but 4 can't be on the bottom. Oh. That means that is 1. And, okay, so that's 5. And that has to be 3. That has to be 3. And 4 is either this or that. That has 7. And, okay. Fortunately, as I said, this is not actually timed, or I'd be super dead. One of these two is 3. Just needed to actually look in the horizontal. So top one of these two is 4. I think the other one would have to be 5. Yeah. Oh. I think that leaves this as 6. One of the middle ones over here is 1. Oh, already filled by 2. I haven't yet solved for 4 yet. Okay, so that has to be 5, which means be 4 in that 5. And that would have to be 4. Nine has to be top over here. And that's 7. Yeah, the makes real strong use of the... Oh, where did it even is the rotation thing? Yes, that's it. Akane, did you get it? Yes, I did. I solved it. Well, I mean, really, you solved it for me, but I copied everything you did. Now I just have to press enter. And what the hell are you waiting for? Push it. Okay, oh well. I hit the enter key. Emergency shutdown command has been acknowledged. Incineration system has been shut down. Lumpy, what's wrong? It worked. It worked. The incinerator shut down. It worked. Tears rolled down my face as I cried out to him, but they were very different sort of tears. A wonderful feeling of accomplishment and relief flooded my body. At the same time, what strength I'd had left disappeared and I collapsed to the floor. For a while I just lay there, laughing and crying and enjoying being alive. Every time I thought about him, I thought my heart would burst. Phew. Can't quite believe I did that, but I'm so glad, so glad. I feel like my heart's on fire. No, I don't have time to be thinking about that kind of shit. I need to tell Akane, sorry, but things are kind of busy over here. Gonna have to hang up now, okay? Oh, of course, that's fine. I wiped the tears from my eyes and nodded vigorously, even though I knew he couldn't see me. Then I looked over at the corner of the floor. There were the 2 bracelets Hangu had left behind. Now, well, Seven and Lotus don't look particularly happy with me. Not a very nice look to give someone who just saved your lives, guys. Junpei, are you okay? Ah, shut it. Right, okay, so maybe they have a reason to be pissed off. What if I haven't pressed the enter key yet? Alright, nothing holding me back now. Here goes. Wait. Automatic incineration will take place in 90 seconds. Doesn't sound like it's stopping. What the shit? Why isn't it stopping? Okay, maybe I didn't hit the key hard enough. Just hit it again and again and again. Okay, that's not working either. The alarm's still going off. What the hell is going on? I got all the right numbers in the right boxes. It's perfect. So why the fuck isn't this thing stopping? Automatic incineration will take place in 60 seconds. Wait, of course. That's what these numbers under the puzzle meant. 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8. Snake, Clover, me, 7, and Lotus. Then, door 9. Oh, that's it. The number on the door isn't a 9. It's not even a number. It's hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a Q. Fuck you. Text-based game. Holy shit. Of course. Then we just have to put the right number into the red, and automatic incineration will take place in 30 seconds. Run, guys. Get to the door. Run. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Don't have much time. Man, I sure hope they can just trust me on this one or we are all fucked. Alright, no time to explain. Just go. Quick. Verify your numbers on the red. Verify? Ooh. What combination? All of us. We all need to verify. Why? You really think this is a good time to ask questions? Just do it. Hurry, 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 hurry. Automatic incineration will take place in 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Central gate has been opened. Incineration system has been disabled. I don't get the exclamation mark there, if I'm being real honest. Oh, thank fucking Christ. No. No time to be happy. Time to go. Hurry. We've only got 9 seconds before the door closes. Go, go, go. Come on, guys. Move it. Okay, they're all through. Move it, Junpei. Just in time. Oddly, the sound effect for that doesn't get fucked up, even though the FMB noise does. And there goes the door. No, don't calm down yet. You're not done. Still gotta find the dead. Shit. Looks like we made it, huh? Man, that guy sure can laugh when he wants to. Looks like Clover and Lotus are totally out of energy. I guess Snake probably can't see the sky, but he sure can feel that fresh air. I just want to take a nap. Akane, can you hear me? I want to tell her we made it. I want to tell her how good I feel, but nothing. The door opened. Standing in front of it was my brother. Akane. Aoi. I cried his name even though my voice was almost gone from screaming and leapt into his arms. Oh, Aoi. Akane. I buried my face in his chest and cried again. I cried and cried and cried. The steady thump of his heart in my ear made me feel like I was home. Its beat was almost like a lullaby. I wrapped my arms around him as far as they would go and held him as tight as I could. Just to be there felt like a miracle. I hadn't felt the warmth of another human body in what seemed like an eternity. I just wanted to stay there in his arms forever. But I couldn't. The moment I'd passed through the door, my bracelets had begun to count down to death. I leapt away from him and looked around. The door had already closed. I spotted the dead only a short distance away. It took me only a moment to get to and scan all the bracelets. I left the ones Hongo dropped on the scanner panel. That was it. I took a deep breath and looked around again. The huge detective who we'd call 7 and 9 years and Snake the blind boy were looking at me. They seemed to have been utterly stunned by my sudden appearance. Their eyes were wide and their mouths were hung open. Alright, let's get out of here. If we don't book it, we might run into Hongo again. Though he was right. It was time to get moving. Mention of Hongo seemed to jar 7 and Snake out of their surprise, and they nodded. We took off running up the spiraling stairs to freedom. Up. Man, these stairs go on forever. But if they can get us out of here, no wonder we're running so hard. My heart's beating so hard I can barely hear. God, I can't wait to breathe real air again. Huh? Is 7 talking? Hey Junpei, can I ask you something? What's up? That door, the one with the 9 on it. Why did it open? Yeah. All 5 of us verified our numbers on the red. 26, that makes our digital route 8. Shouldn't have opened. It's not like you, Lotus. Thought you would have figured it out already. Huh? Why? Because you were the person who taught me about the idea of bases. Bases? Yeah. What were the 2 numbers in base 2? 0 and 1. How about base 10? 0 to 9. How about base 16? 0 to F. After 9, it starts a day and goes from there, B, C, D, etc. You're right. In other words, base A in base 16 is 10 in base 10. B is 11, C is 12, so on and so forth. So what about it? You don't get it? What if we keep going with that pattern? What if we go way past base 16 all the way to base 27? Base 27? Yeah. Well, the numerical digits are the same, so I guess you'd add alphabetical digits. E is 14, F is 15, G is 16, H is 17, so on and so forth. Until we get... And what comes after that? Q. 26. What does that mean? That wasn't a 9 on the door. It was a Q. A fucking lowercase q. Yeah, that's pretty much it. guess to put it another way, you could say that it was a 9 in base 10, but a Q in base 27. Time for more running. God, my thighs are killing me. I swear any moment now I'm gonna tear a muscle. I feel like every single cell of my body is dying for air. Damn, every breath I take is a chore now. I feel like my lungs are gonna burst. Maybe just a short rest. No, can't stop. Don't have time. Come on, legs. There can't be that many more of these steps left. Let's run. Run like a bullet down a rifled barrel. Like a tornado cutting through a sea of clouds. I feel like we're running along the back of a giant coiled dragon. Finally. Jesus, I can barely breathe. No, Junpei, no time to rest. Pull yourself together, you're almost there. Alright, I'm gonna open it. Yeah, yes. We're finally here. Please do. Sure, you look like a big heavy door, but you're the only thing standing between me and my freedom. But even more important than that, the only thing standing between me and Akane. You're gonna open, and you're gonna open now. And I think this is one of my favorite reveals in a long time when I first got to this point. I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Aoi's. Give it a small reassuring squeeze. I was so happy, I felt like I could melt. My heart was at peace, and not only because my brother and I were back together again. Thanks to the huge detective, all 9 of us who had been kidnapped were finally able to escape from the gigantic. In the distant horizon, you could see the faint outline of the ship as it sank. It gave a thunderous roar as it finally slipped beneath the waves. The last cry echoed out across the ocean, and then it was gone. It's over. Aoi whispered, yeah. It was over. It was finally over. Or was it? Was it really? No, that was wrong. That wasn't it at all. I was sure of it. This wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. This was only a prologue to what would happen in 9 years. Yes, finally, air. Damn, that sun's bright. I can barely see anything. I gotta admit, this doesn't look quite like... Wait. No way. You have gotta be shitting me. What? It can't be. This is... Nevada. Or, I mean, Nevada if you're not from southern Nevada, but... This is the building in the Nevada desert. The mock experiment building. Oh my god, this whole time we were in building Q. Sure enough, that's a desert out there, with mountains all around it. Hello there, son. Boy, am I ever glad to see you. I don't think I have ever been so happy to see a sunrise. Huh? Did I just hear something fall? Right, our bracelets. I guess I've never really gotten a good look at the underside of one of these things. See what's inside you. Just a little electronic chip, like in an ATM card. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing that even looks like a detonator. There was never a detonator to begin with. Figures. Kane. Jumpy. Guess I must be pretty crazy about the girl if I think I'm hearing her voice in the wind. Well, that makes 2 of these in a row that have taken longer than I anticipated. Because I am real good at remembering how long these things take. So, admittedly, part of it is I'm real bad at remembering the puzzles. And, while I do deeply appreciate the efforts of these people, as well as the designers, I'm pretty damn sure that there is a post-credits sequence, and I need to be leaving in like less than 10 minutes, so are you okay? Come on, this is nothing. Really? Yeah. You don't look okay. It was just before the end of elementary school. Jumpy and I were sitting next to each other on a small hill, looking down at the town as the sun slowly set. How does it look then? He was half serious and half joking. Thought about it for a minute first. Well, let's see. It looks like you kissed a toad and got warts, but they kept growing and growing and growing. What does that even mean? Junpei grinned and... Yeah, I told you you're not okay. You're too reckless. You can't beat 5 8th graders, Jumpy. That's crazy. Yeah, but I couldn't just stand there. I mean, don't you think so? I had to do something. Look at the Nevada desert go past. For an SUV, this thing has a pretty smooth ride. Sure was nice of someone to leave it for us outside the building, keys in the ignition and gas in the tank. Almost like it was a present, you know? Anyway, we jumped in, and now here we are, screaming across the desert. Otis is over there in the passenger seat. Snake and Seven and I are all squeezed into the back seat here. I can't believe we let her drive. Woohoo! So fun. Oh, so awesome. Driving's so great when there's nothing around. There's no speed limit. Clover, watch those bumps, alright? Jumps even a little, I think I'm gonna get crushed to death. You shut it, I can't help it if I'm big, alright? Suck it up. Why don't you drive, Seven? I'm a cop. I ain't gonna break the law. He doesn't have an international license. Yeah, but you could have sat in the passenger seat. Oh, hell no. There's no way I'm giving this seat up. And Clover, there's no need to slow down. Our Santa and Six are in should be somewhere down this road ahead of us. Yeah, I saw some fresh tire tracks going out. There's no doubt about it. And we've got to hurry if we want to catch them, don't we? Sure thing. Oh shit. God damn, she doesn't have to drive so fast. And I didn't even think a car like this could go this fast. We're sure throwing up a lot of dust. It was a couple hours after we'd run into the junior high students. They'd been hiding in the bushes in the back of one of the hills, drenching a kitten in gasoline. When we saw what they were doing, Jumpy ran up to them furious. Hey, what the hell are you doing? Then he jumped on them. We scooped up the kitten and tossed it to me. I caught it and ran for the police station as fast as I could. Help me, officer, please. You have to come with me. The policeman and I headed back to the hill. All we found was Jumpy, sprawled on the ground with a face covered in big swelling lumps. He didn't run away after he threw the kitty to me, I asked him. He stuck his tongue out through the hole in his mouth where a tooth had fallen out. Yeah, I guess I could've. Why didn't you? I didn't want to. Wanted to beat him up real good. Was what they were doing to the kitty? Yeah, that too, but... I think they were the ones behind those murders our first semester, remember? Oh, you mean the bunnies? Yeah, the bunnies. He plucked some grass from the ground and tossed it into the wind. He asked me what elementary school I was from, so I told him. And they said they'd do the same thing to you that they did to the rabbit. I couldn't forgive him for that, so... Hey, there's still some stuff I don't get. Of course, they probably don't know any more than I do. Like Ace, well, I guess I should say Jintaro Hongu. Why did he create the Nonary project? Anybody? Any ideas? Why don't you ask him yourself? Well, I guess I could. He's still in the trunk, I assume. Yeah, he is. Still tied up, I'm assuming, with his mouth taped shut. Oh, might as well have a little chat with the old man. His eyes just look empty, no emotion. He looks like he's just given up. I wonder if he even cares what happens to him anymore. Hey, were you listening to us? Hey, go ahead and try to pretend you weren't, you old bastard. Get that tape off your mouth. Come on, I know you were. Answer me. At least look at me when you talk, man. I only wanted to see the faces. Human faces. I thought that if I could gain the ability to access the morphic field set, then perhaps I could see faces. By peering into people's minds, you could understand how they were processing the expressions of others. That's it? Yes, if you want to put it simply, but if you're looking for a more philosophical answer, I can supply that as well. You're the human collective consciousness. I think that's enough out of you, pal. Time for the tape to go back on. Alright, so what's your second question? You said there were some things you didn't get, right? Well, somebody's a little nosy. Well, my next question doesn't really have anything to do with you two. This is for you, Seven. It's about the whole Alice thing. What's the deal with that? Well, see, 9 years ago after I escaped from the Gigantic, I kept going after Hongo on my own, hoping I'd catch him when he finally slipped up. During the course of my investigations, I learned a lot more about the Gigantic. I also found out about Gordain and Alice. Not really answering my question. Was there actually a girl who wouldn't melt at room temperature? Sounds like Hongo has something to say. Alright, fine, I'll let you talk, but you gotta behave. What? Alice doesn't exist. 9 years ago, I found Alice's coffin behind the library on the bottom deck. There was nothing in it but the root of a peculiar plant. My research determined that it was a member of the genus Mandragora, but the family... I don't even fucking know how to say that. Was able to extract a particular alkaloid from it. Use that extract to create soap oil. Its creation was a tremendous boon to my firm, and we grew rapidly. Shit, this is gonna go on forever. Takes going back on, Hangu. The rest of my questions can wait a bit. For now, I think I'll just enjoy the ride. Here, this is for you. What is this? This is a for you doll. His name is Junpei. Junpei, rather. Junpei pulled something out of his pocket and shoved out his arm toward me. In his hand was a doll made of yarn small enough to fit in his palm. Junpei, are you sure it's a for you doll? Yeah, that's... The lady at the shop said so. That means it's for you, right? Are you sure it's not a voodoo doll? What? That's... Oh, man. Well, it sure looks like a voodoo doll. You do know what a voodoo doll's used for, right? Yeah, I guess calling it Junpei isn't a very good idea, then. Why are you giving me this anyway? It just seems really sudden. You know how after June, we aren't going to see each other too much? I mean, we're going to be in different schools, and I just thought I'd, okay, well, how about we call it June, then? Okay. I wanted to give this to you. Sound like some sort of tribal chief in a bad movie. Yes, I had of tribe. This doll, traditional charm of tribe. So I give this it me, so we always together. Something bad and hold and pray. I go wherever you are. Reach my hand out and pick up the doll gently. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jumpy. Before I knew it, I was crying. Tears streamed down my face and fell into June's tiny yarn body. Oh, Jumpy, I'll never forget you, I promise. Jumpy looked straight into my eyes and said just 5 words. All of them were dots, unfortunately. I'll never forget you either. The sky was a beautiful crimson red as it melted down toward the horizon. Last golden rays of sunlight stretched out across the city and painted themselves across the hills. We sat bathed in the warm light of evening, just the two of us leaning gently against one another, shoulder to shoulder. Sunset, and we still didn't leave. We watched in silence as the darkness deepened, and one by one the lights of the town began to flicker on. There's still one thing I don't get. To be honest, it's the biggest mystery as far as I'm concerned, and also the only one that's really important. It has to do with June and Akane. 9 years ago she died in the incinerator on the Gigantic, but she's still alive now as June. But how? Was it because I tapped in the Morph Field set and saved her 9 years ago? Alright, let's say that makes some kind of insane sense. If I did that, then... How do I make sense of what Seven remembers? Tank makes sense. He's blind. He couldn't have seen her body anyway. But Seven, he said he was sure he saw it. Does that mean there's some kind of historical discrepancy? Wait, maybe that's not it at all. Maybe there's one other logical explanation. Was what you told me the truth, Seven? You look satisfied. No way. I couldn't. Hey look, over there. There's somebody next to the road. Oh, what? Hmm? The burning gaze of the Nevada sun pounded down on her head. The desert around her rippled with heat. Standing there on that shimmering plain was a woman, her arm out and her thumb up. It would not be long before Junpei realized who she was. For all I hate almost all the endings that aren't the true ending, and actually for that matter the Coffin ending. I really like the Coffin ending. I wouldn't have stopped at the Coffin ending first if I didn't really like it. That tie-in is so strong. I don't even know if it actually goes into the next game because I don't remember anything about the next game. But that is going to be it for me. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that as well. Next Wednesday, I'm probably going to be moving on to the next game in the series. I'll try to figure out how to actually get it working properly. But again, that's it for me. Thank you.